Felixstowe. And we hear from one of the biggest names in business, Indra Nooyi, on tackling racial stereotypes and working her way to the top of PepsiCo.
I don't know where this myth about the sari-clad, barefoot, singing CEO suddenly became larger than life. But you know what? It made for good stories. That's all right.
Good morning. This is Ian King Live and our business and economic news from the heart of the city. Well, we start today with the GDP figures out fresh this morning, which show that the UK economy grew by 0.4% in August. Well, that was positive. The growth was slightly less than expected. It's being put down to more people eating and drinking out, going on holiday and heading to UK festivals. Well, the figures show gross domestic product is estimated to have grown by 0.2% in August 2021. That remains 0.4% below its pre-coronavirus pandemic level from February 2020. Well, joining me now is Sandra Horsfield. She's economist at Investec. Sandra, very good morning to you. The numbers are slightly shy of expectations, but probably not too bad an outcome given all the supply chain bottlenecks we've been hearing about.
No, certainly not. I think this was a decent report, solid all round, pointing to a strong third quarter. 0.8% shortfall relative to pre-pandemic levels. That's not very much. We think that come sometime during the fourth quarter, we could be back to where we were just before the pandemic hit. And that is really a remarkable recovery and turnaround. So altogether, it's looking pretty good, especially coming after the weakness that we had in the July figures, which had raised some concerns that perhaps the pace of output growth wasn't quite what it was. So we're quite pleased with the numbers that we had so far.
Well, quite. You mentioned July there. I mean, the initial estimate was for 0.1% growth in July. It's now been revised lower to 0.1% contraction. That's the first contraction we've seen outside of a lockdown.
Certainly, and I think there's still clear pockets of weakness. The supply chain shortages that you mentioned are clearly a big hindrance to activity. We've seen that especially in motor vehicle production. That is still down about 20%, not quite, relative to where it was before the pandemic hit. And clearly, we were actually above pre-pandemic levels around the start of the year. And so to have come so far down below that, well, that's a clear indication that these supply shortages are biting, and they're biting quite hard in certain sectors. At the same time, we are getting some offset from the unlocking of the economy in other sectors. Hospitality is doing a lot better. We've had a lot of domestic activity, certainly as far as the hospitality and travel is concerned, as you mentioned. And that's helped propel the aggregate numbers higher.
Construction output actually contracted during August. Do you put that down to supply chain issues, or is it labour market shortages as well?
I think there's a bit of both involved. Certainly, the construction material shortages were cited as one factor that's holding back construction. At the moment, it's not so much new builds that are the source of weakness. It's actually maintenance and repair work that is being held back by the lack of parts and the lack of raw materials. And we're seeing that in other parts. Construction, of course, is also a sector where there's a lot of self-employment involved, and we're still seeing labour shortages. That's the part of the labour market that hasn't recovered quite as well as other parts as yet. So a mix of the two is leaving construction one of the laggards in the recovery so far.
Sandra, what are the implications for all of this for the Monetary Policy Committee? I mean, clearly there's a big drumbeat of noise around inflation, but the fact that we're still not back to pre-pandemic levels just yet, does that mean they're likely to stay their hand, do you feel?
I think the bigger question for the MPC is not so much activity. We're getting a lot of recovery. We are already close to pre-pandemic levels. Whether we are exactly there or not is probably by the by. The recovery, if you take a step back, has been a lot faster than many could have hoped for. Certainly, that is good news. And we're on track for further above trend, if no longer peak growth going forward. But where the MPC will have some issues is what happens to the labour market. We have to remember the furlough scheme ended right at the end of September. And we don't know as yet how many of the people who are on furlough will end up being unemployed, and therefore how the picture will evolve for demand, how the picture will evolve for wages. And that's really the big uncertainty going forward. and what will be very, very closely watched by the MPC going forward. Clearly, nervousness around the inflation trends, though, is rather high. We think ultimately they will probably end up waiting till February until they raise rates. But certainly, with the utility price pressures, with the gas price pressures that we're seeing, it's quite possible that they will choose to do so slightly earlier.
All right, Sandra, thanks for joining me today. It's much appreciated. Development now in the UK supply crisis. Industry executives have told Sky News that the collapse of several more energy supplies could be confirmed by the regulator Ofgem today. Well, that would take the total to nearly 15 during the current crisis. You can scan the QR code on the left of your screen to read more about that story online by our city editor, Mark Kleinman. Some other stories now. Britain's biggest house builder said today it's not experienced any significant disruption to its build programme as a result of the challenging supply chain environment. Barratt Developments also said that private reservations remain strong, despite a significant year-on-year reduction in Help to Buy reservations and the ending of the stamp duty holiday. From the 1st of July to last Sunday, the company completed 3,699 homes, which was down 8.3% on the same period last year, reflecting a significant rise in home completions after this disruption created by the initial national lockdown. NatWest said this morning it's targeting £100 billion worth of climate and sustainable funding and financing by the end of 2025. The bank said this would help support the investment needed to transition the UK to a net zero economy and said it would help to support the bank's customers, including SMEs, on their transition to a net zero and more sustainable economy. NatWest said that during the first 6 months of the year, it had beaten a target for the whole year to provide some £20 billion worth of such financing. And the pub operator Marston's said this morning that sales during recent months have been back to pre-pandemic levels. Marston's, which employs around 12,000 people in some 1,500 pubs across the country, said that sales from the 25th of July to the 2nd of October were slightly ahead of the same level in 2019. It said it had been helped by the makeup of its pub estate, which largely comprises community pubs with limited exposure to London and city centres. Now, the government's top Brexit minister is expected to say today that the arrangement made in January last year between the UK and the EU around Northern Ireland needs some significant changes. You'll remember that after Brexit, the Northern Ireland Protocol was introduced. That was to allow goods to move freely between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, avoiding a hard border on the island, with EU custom rules still applying in Northern Ireland itself. Well, joining me now is Shankar Singham. He's a prominent voice on global trade and the CEO of Competair. Shankar, very good morning to you. How do you think the UK and the EU ought to address this logjam?
Well, I think there are various logjams that need to be addressed. So obviously David Frost yesterday was talking about the Northern Ireland Protocol, and that's, I think, as he described it, one of the greatest sources of mistrust between the two, and it's preventing facilitations from taking place between the rest of the EU and UK border. So I think that obviously there does have to be a solution found to the Northern Ireland Protocol. The EU's come out with proposals today that in many ways I think are quite interesting and go a bit further than many of us had thought they would. I suspect possibly not far enough for the UK, but we're in a process of negotiation right now. I think with respect to the rest of the UK border, the GB border, what we have to do there is recognise that, you know, a lot of the issues of the supply chain and so forth, you've currently got an easement on the rest of the UK border, which means that it's quite easy to get goods, in fact, from the EU into GB. That will change on January the 1st of next year, when there will be an additional requirement for a frontier declaration. And what I think industry needs to prepare for and traders need to prepare for is that moment. So for EU into GB trade, in many ways, Brexit hasn't yet happened. It happens on January the 1st. Obviously, for GB into EU trade, it happened, when we left the EU, and that caused, a number of disruptions. Absolutely. But all of these things are sort of linked together, I think.
I mean, you mentioned, just to home in on the Northern Ireland Protocol, I mean, it does look as though the EU, as you say, have made some compromises. What they don't appear to be ready to do yet is drop the European Court of Justice's oversight of the protocol.
Yeah, I mean, what David Frost suggested yesterday, which I think, it makes a lot of sense, and it's probably how you would do it if you were negotiating something like this from scratch, is to put the protocol within the trade agreement, and you'd have the dispute settlement mechanism of the trade agreement that would apply to all of the trade agreement, including that part that affected trade between GB and Northern Ireland. I mean, clearly the European Court of Justice is going to have authority to determine what EU law means. So to the extent that EU law applies in Northern Ireland, and even under the command paper proposals that the UK government released, if you have trade going GB into Northern Ireland at risk of going to Ireland, i.e. at risk of going to the EU, then certainly, even in the command paper proposals, that would EU regulation would apply, and there would be some sort of check and control between GB and NI. If there are disputes about those regulations, they clearly have to be arbitrated under the European Court of Justice. However, disputes under the whole protocol could be arbitrated under a separate, trade agreement dispute settlement mechanism. So I think that is going to continue to be a difficulty in getting this negotiation to work. But I think the key to a negotiated solution, and that's I think what everybody wants, rather than triggering Article 16, the key to a negotiated solution is to have a very sharp division between what is going not at risk into Northern Ireland, that is not at risk of going into the European Union, and what is at risk. And clearly you'd have full process for things that are at risk, but you could have significant simplifications for things that are going not at risk. And I think that represents the landing zone. And the EU has issued a proposal that is closer to that landing zone, as I say, than many of us thought they would. So I think that's quite optimistic at the moment. I suspect it won't be enough initially, but there's a pathway to a landing zone here, I would think.
OK, Shankar, we've got to leave it there, I'm afraid. Hope to see you again in future. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you very much.
Now, the backlog at the UK's largest commercial port, Felixstowe, is said to be improving. Yesterday, the global shipping company Maersk decided to divert vessels away from the port. The move has raised fears of delays to deliveries as the pre-Christmas trade rush gets underway. Well, Sky's Emma Birchley joins me now from Felixstowe. So, Emma, signs of improvement?
Well, that's what we're told, that actually there's more space on the dock now than there has been at any point since the beginning of July. But I'm just going to show you the ship that's just over my shoulder. So this is the Ever Genius. It's 400 metres long. It takes the equivalent of 20,000 20-foot containers. So if a ship like this can't get in or it misses its slot, you can see the impact that could have on deliveries. And the problem is, according to the port, is that the imports are coming in faster than the UK supply chain can deal with it. So we've got a shortage of drivers, we know about that, that's very well documented. Here on the port there have been some issues with people being off through COVID and things like that, but they say that actually staffing here isn't so much the issue. The problem is the place is absolutely chock-a-block. 50,000 of those equivalent of 20-foot containers are backed up here, and until there's space, you've got no space then for the ships to unload and to reload, and you can see why you end up with everything knocking on and becoming an issue. And the fact is that we are 10 weeks away from Christmas. We are in the absolute peak time when it comes to getting goods around and about the country. So that's why there is this concern at the moment. It's important to note, though, that it's not just here in the UK that there are issues. It's around the world as well. But certainly this is the biggest port for Britain. It's the busiest port. It's actually the 8th busiest in Europe. So when there are problems here, you can see why it causes concern.
Emma, thanks for that. Well, after last night's soggy finish on Wall Street, equities in the Asia-Pacific region saw mixed trading overnight, with falls in Tokyo, Hong Kong and Sydney, but gains in Shanghai and in Mumbai. Well, in Europe, equities have been similarly mixed since the open a couple of hours ago or so. Coming up, the current picture in Europe. Here it comes. Any second now. There we go. As I say, pretty mixed. The DAX in Germany is up and the CAC 40 is up. The Iberian Spanish index and the MIB in Milan both slightly lower there. Among main talking points today in Europe, there have been results today from LVMH. That's the world's biggest luxury goods company and France's biggest quoted company. Overall, its sales were up 20% in the 3 months to the end of September, and the shares are currently up just shy of 1%. Well, here in London, as you can see, the FTSE 100 is off just over 1/4% lower. Falls in healthcare and energy stocks are outweighing gains for property and consumer stocks. The biggest blue chip faller right now in percentage terms is the exhibitions and events organiser Informa. That's on a bit of broker comment. The shares are off about 4%, I think, from memory. There you go, 3.5% right now. Just Eat Takeaway, another FTSE constituent. It's off by some 4.5%. That is after its third quarter order numbers came in below expectations. There are some gains. As I mentioned, Barratt Developments earlier in the programme. Their shares are up by 5.5% on that trading update. Persimmon and Taylor Wimpey are up in sympathy. Outside the FTSE, the hedge fund manager Man Group, its shares are up by some 7, look at that, nearly 8% right now on a trading update. On the foreign exchange markets, there's apparently been a bit of heavy betting against sterling this week, but as you can see right now, the pound is 1/3 of 1% higher against the dollar, slightly up against the euro. I think that's on the back of the GDP numbers. As for the oil price, that appears to be taking a bit of a breather this morning. A barrel of Brent crude right now will set you back $82.97 a barrel. That is off just over 1/2%. Well, joining me now is Louise Dudley. She's Portfolio Manager of Global Equities at Federated Hermes. Louise, very good to see you this morning. What do you make of the GDP numbers? Is that why the pound is higher, do you think?
Yeah, I think, people's expectations at the moment, we're feeling a bit cautious, a bit nervous. Investors are quite jittery. So any tinkering at all to those kind of longer term expectations is going to move things in quite extreme way, I would say.
Now, in the equities universe, obviously, we're on the cusp of Q3 earnings updates from a lot of the big companies around them, particularly the S&P in America. They obviously going for a lot of quarterly reporting more than we do here. But what are you expecting to see?
So there's a lot of headwinds at the moment. The market in general, quite elevated valuations, growth rates have been diminishing. And certainly for the banks, we're expecting some quite good things given the expectations in terms of interest rates and also the pricing power that they have. At the same time, they will set the tone for the rest of the earnings season. We know that the commodity heavy, the energy intensive names will be facing some challenges as well. And so really it's quite a mixed picture, but there's definitely the opportunity, maybe more within those value sectors, the names that haven't rallied so far within as part of that economic rebound that we've seen.
I mean, Louise, the banking stocks have had a pretty good run. I think NatWest shares, for example, have doubled over the last 12 months. But a lot of European banks are still trading at big discounts to their book value, aren't they?
Yeah, so the loan growth hasn't come in quite as strong as people were hoping, and that's really what we're looking for in this quarter. And those names definitely looking to still being priced at a discount, so still kind of a good opportunity there. And we expect them to continue to do well as those loan growth numbers come back. Consumer confidence continues as well.
Obviously, a lot of the conversations that we've had over the last 12 months have been about this, the pivot away from growth to value. That puts the FTSE in a pretty good position compared with some of its continental and American peers, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. So the US index definitely dominated by tech, where we're seeing those reduced growth numbers and also being hurt by those interest rate rises as well, such that their kind of future growth gets discounted more heavily. The FTSE, which is more tilted towards banks, materials, although we have seen some commodities come off, there's still a lot to be gained there. We're also seeing very strong numbers for demand out of China, other emerging markets, so that will continue to support that commodity rally as well.
All right, Louise, got to leave it there. Always good to talk to you. Thanks for joining me today. Well, now, Howden Group is one of the UK's biggest providers of insurance broking, risk management and claims consulting services. And it's at the centre of some big breaking news this morning. During the last hour, the company, which is best known for its A-Plan brand, has announced it's buying Aston Lark, one of the UK's leading independent commercial and private client brokers. Joining me now is the co-founder and chief executive of Howden Group, David Howden. David, very good morning to you. What's the industrial logic behind this transaction?
Good morning, Ian. Yeah, well, I think the exciting thing about this transaction is that we're bringing together in the UK a best of British broking to really service the UK economy. We're going to be a group now with over 10,000 employees, 6,000 of which the UK, with 160 offices, really servicing everything from, as you mentioned, with A-Plan with the private clients, right through the mid-corporate, right into the very largest of UK corporations. And I think the interesting thing about this deal is we're a UK company with the biggest employers of the actual people working in the business, acquiring this off a large US private equity house, Goldman Sachs, part of the Goldman Group, obviously. And I think it's a very interesting British story for British businesses overall.
No, it's, you haven't made public the figure, but I'm told it's a pretty substantial consideration. How are you funding it?
Yeah, so it is. We're paying a fair value for a great business. In fact, the enterprise value of the group overall now will be north of £7 billion, over $10 billion. And this is a business I started from nothing 27 years ago. For me, all these numbers seem very big with a lot of zeros on them. And we've got some very strong outside shareholders that back the group, though, long term. So we're funding it through both a combination of debt and equity, but critically, over 300 of Peter Blanc, who's the CEO of Aston Martin's staff, are rolling over and investing into Howden Group, where we've got now well over 2,000 of our staff actually invest in the business. Now, it's a really very different model. It makes us one of the largest employer-owned businesses in the UK, not just in insurance, but in any of the sectors at all.
So in terms of the ownership of the business going forward, then, what proportion will be owned by employees and what proportion will be owned by outside shareholders?
Yeah, so the single largest proportion will be the employees, with about 35% of the business. And then we've got 3 minority investors with roughly 20% each in the business as well.
David, what do you see as the execution risks involved here?
Well, I think very low, because Aston Martin is the missing jigsaw piece in our puzzle. You mentioned it, Ian, that, we're best known in the UK market for A-Plan. A-Plan are there on every high street, from Yeovil right the way up. We went out from Yeovil up to Perth. Aston Martin is very much a corporate broker specialising in the corporate market, whereas A-Plan is very much personalised SME. And Howden is very much in the very large corporate specialty lines. So those 3 businesses together, coming together as one to service, as I say, the very largest UK clients right down to personal lines. So there's absolutely zero clash. This is completely a growth story, and one about how we're going to invest in the UK to build the very best of British brokers, which I think is about time, when most of the market has been dominated for so many years by American brokers.
David, this has been a pretty busy period for you. You've done quite a few acquisitions now over the last couple of years or so. Are you trying to do too much too soon?
No, I don't think so. I always say, trust me slowly because I'm in a hurry. I think ultimately, we're building a business over a long time. I've spent 27 years building this business at the ground up. We're building a business that's sustainable over a long period. But when we find businesses that really have a similar culture, and that's the most abused corporate word, I believe, culture, but really have the same culture as us, have a DNA about being about their people, about employee ownership and client focus, then we take the opportunity to team up with them. And we've done that with Carl A-Plan. We've done that with Peter at Aston Martin. We did that with Kieran Sweeney in the States for the line. And we are going to create a business with a real difference over the next 20, 25 years.
All right, David, we've got to leave it there. Great to talk to you this morning. Hope to see you again before too long. Thank you.
A pleasure, Ian. Thank you very much indeed.
Well, still to come here on Ian King Live. Living with good health. I will be joined by the Chief Executive of Vitality, which has just launched a new algorithm that calculates how many years you can expect to live feeling well. Don't go away.
Only 5 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Prum Prum Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Hello, lovely listeners. Tune in to the renewed show with Charlotte. Make it a date to listen to me this and every Thursday at 5 p.m. on Starr Radio UK. Tune in to an hour of power, an hour of encouragement, an hour to inspire you to stay positive and strong in this season. See you there and listen.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820, or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour Show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour Show is your best source into the property industry.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clemens, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Check me out.
He tells me my energy is making him tired.
Yes!
How do you get the energy to do
I've been told that I have a lot of energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match, people. I have met my match, Miss Suzette. Wow, amazing.
One of the things that's the start of digging the hole of darkness. So what did that? Myself and the world will adjust. And 2019?
Forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on The CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Starr Radio.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Body is your man. Bekutu, show them you got the cocoa set. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Harry Song, aka Mr. Songs. This is the Kingmaker Baba for the girls. We're here. This is Starr Radio. Don't go nowhere. UK, London. We call them London for home. For here, we call them London.
The best radio show.
Have fun. Stay blessed.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK. Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, your heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile. If you just smile. Hey, this is Archie and you're listening to Starr Radio UK.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio.
Everybody put your hands together. If you know he's been good, lift your hands and say, you were good, Lord, yeah, yeah, yeah. Everybody say, Lord, I'm here to see.
Okay, so let me say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you. Today is Wednesday, the 13th day of October, the year 2021. With a time now 10:34 from the Hearts of London. And it is the Wednesday edition of the morning show. To those of you on other planets as well, I say massive hello to you. But wherever and whatever you are doing, it is now time to tune in, listen to us, turn it on up. Whether you are in your car, whether you are walking, whatever you're doing, we are here to bring you global news review and current affairs program. I say it all the time. From archaeology to zoology, from Accra to Zanzibar, if it's making the headlines, why not? We'll definitely touch on it. I am Archie. From now until 12 o'clock, I'm going to be a captain. Making sure I get you to that destination. But you know what you have to do? Get your loins. If you are sitting, sit at a very comfortable position. If you are standing, hold on to something. Get yourself a hot or cold drink, whichever is appropriate. And let's get cracking. It could be bumpy, but as I say all the time, be rest assured, I'll get you to your destination in peace. And once again, I say welcome. Let me say a special good morning to Ozo Francis Omaga Namani, all the way in Amangonzi in Enugu State, Nigeria. Also, you are one of the listeners who patronizes as such that I asked myself, oh, what can I even do? What can I even do? You know, you're doing so much. I mean, we know how data is expensive in that part of the world. However, you make it like religiously listening to us. And we so much appreciate that. Once again, I say welcome. Let me say morning to my colleagues, Mr. Frank Davis, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, Kojo D, and to Felix all the way in Aberdeen, Mr. Kofi Ali Abdul Yakin. Kofi, I hope you are doing very well. Oh, long time no here. I hope you are doing good. Mr. Malik Dramani Mahama, Dr. Martin, Mr. Theophilus Teiko, Mr. David Kluche. Good morning to you all. To those of you in the US, Mr. Buama, Kamfana Hivit, Abiose, and all you wonderful people who listen to us in the US, we salute you there as well. For those of you on the African continent, in Asia, in Europe, in Australia, and here in the UK as well, welcome. But do me a massive favor, share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages again. It is Starr Radio UK, the Wednesday edition of the morning show. Okay, for the program outline, I'll bring you the quote for the day in a moment, and then we'll be followed by the travel update and the weather forecast as well. We'll be going global trotting, having a look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe. If time permits, and we have Mr. Olayomi Koiki at 11 o'clock, we'll be having him bringing you updates from Nigeria. And then we'll move on from there to have a look at some of the stories that is making the rounds across the globe. At 11:30, the lines are open for you to add your voice to the discussions. Then at 12 o'clock exactly, we'll bring the first part of the program to a close. We'll be taking you to the Houses of Parliament in Scotland. Holyrood. For the PMQ there. That's the first minister's question time there as well. Okay, so make a date with us. Don't you go away. So in a gist, that is what we're going to be doing today. And once again, I say welcome to the show. If you don't know,
this is the morning show.
That's me. Playing in the background, Joe Metal and the Battle Revival Choir. Enyo. He's good. God is good. Continue to share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages as well. Enyonto, he is good. I can tell you, I can attest to that. Okay, so the quote for the day says, your character tells others who you are. Your character tells others who you are. I remember back in the day, someone will tell you that, well, your beauty will take you there and your character will bring you back. And I said, why? They said, well, it's because maybe the person has not got a good character, so it doesn't matter how they are dressed up and looking so glamorous, and that will take them there because of the bad character that they might have that will bring them back. But you don't want that, do you? So make sure that you are portraying a good character. Starr Radio UK. Now let's move on straight to the weather forecast for you today, Wednesday, here in UK and London and the southeast of England. And it's a afternoon, we'll see any light rain clear, turning dry, but it looks to remain cloudy for most. Now, cloud will break in a few places to reveal some warm sunshine. However, tonight will be dry with a mixture of patchy cloud and clear spells. Area of cloud will tend to thicken towards dawn, but it should remain dry. A gentle breeze expected as well. And when it comes to the temperature is going to be 16 degrees. The low is going to be 10 degrees. UV level is going to be low. Pollution is going to be low. Sunset 18:12 and sunrise for tomorrow morning 07:20 hours. That brings us to the end of the weather forecast for you. Starr Radio UK, 10:40 the time. We'll take a commercial break, and once we come back, the travel update will follow soon. But don't you worry, I'll let you dance to that music. Yeah, it's making me move good.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Okay, so keep your eyes on the roads. Keep your eyes on the roads. I'll keep you updated. I promise I'm on the Starr Radio travel update that comes to you every weekday from 10:41 now. So what is happening on your travels? Waterloo and City Lines have got planned closures. That is on the underground. That aside, all the others, good service there. TFL Rail, DLR, London Tram Link, London Overground, good service. I'm moving on to the riverbank this morning. Shortly, there is no issues there and therefore good service throughout. Now let's move on to the National Rail. On the National Rail, East Midlands Railway has got minor delays. Southwestern Railway special service there as well. But keep your eyes on the roads. Keep your eyes on the roads. I will keep you navigated. I promise our bond. Now moving on to the final segment of the travel update. That's the major roads in London. What do we have there for you? Well, A4 has got closures, A41 closures, Central London Red Roads closures, South Circular A205 closures there as well. And as I would say all the time, well. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your commute for today, but you know what? Continue to keep those eyes on the road.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Prampram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Prampram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Lovely listeners, tune in to the renewed show with Charlotte. Make it a date to listen to me this and every Thursday at 5 p.m. on Starr Radio UK. Tune in to an hour of power, an hour of encouragement, an hour to inspire you to stay positive and strong in this season. See you there and listen.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour Show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour Show is your best source into the property industry.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Everybody put your hands together. If you know he's been good, lift your hands and say,
Are you ready to turn it up?
The best radio show.
All around the world.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
This is Radio UK.
My praises for all you have done.
Welcome back to the program Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now to 10:47. Let's go global, trotting.
For your love and your grace, for your faithfulness each day. All honor, all glory to you.
But let me acknowledge Olayomi Joe Taiwo. It's a fellow people living currently in Nigeria. May you never again experience Nigeria. May Nigeria never happen to you and your household. Well, then Nigeria is a serious canker, isn't it? Well. Interesting. Interesting. Olayomi Joe, good morning to you once again. So now let's look at the stories that is making the rounds from across the globe.
Just as we are, we have come to pour out in praise for the wonderful things you have done.
Let me say good morning to Empress Regina as well. Now I call her Queen. Okay. Let's crack on. Lots of messages coming through. I hope you are all enjoying the show wherever you are. It's Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let me say a special good morning to my able producer, Francis Guy. Mr. Oh, I think he has to be knighted. So he has to be called Sir Francis Guy. Oh, which one do you want? You want honorable? Whichever you want, I can give that one to you. Okay, now let's move on. On the UK front, EU to offer fewer NI border, that's Northern Ireland border checks on British goods. The UK says current rules impose too many barriers to the sale of chilled meats and other products. We'll bring you more details on that. The results or the consequences of Brexit. Now, care staff shortage worse than before pandemic. Reward care workers for their skills and dedication to avoid staff shortages, report urges. And some more stories, some problems that it's ahead of us. Come Christmas. A plan for Christmas amid port delays, shoppers are told. So if you have to order some things, do it now. Don't wait till December when you want to be rushing around like we normally did. Nah, this is not going to work. Well, the guidance comes as the UK's biggest commercial port, Felixstowe, says the situation is improving, though. But you see, the number of containers that have been lined up there, ships that are waiting to dock so that they could discharge their goods, then you know that, whoa. Well, on a sad story as well, note as well, life expectancy falls in parts of England. A study has said it is alarming, says researchers, that longevity was declining in the north even before the pandemic. But you know, they say the place that you can, where life expectancy is very high is somewhere in Kent. You know, I'm trying to find that place, but I need to move house and go and live there. Maybe they are breathing some special oxygen from heaven direct, and then I can also enjoy that. All right then, Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Move on to some other parts of the world and have a look at some of the stories making the rounds there. U.S. to reopen land borders for vaccinated travelers. Land and ferry crossing with Mexico and Canada will reopen in November after 19 months of curbs. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Havana syndrome has been reported at the U.S. Embassy in Colombia. The mystery illness has sickened U.S. diplomats around the world since it was first reported in 2016. How come that is known as the Havana syndrome? Is it because maybe it originated from Cuba or what? We'll be looking into that story as well. It is Starr Radio UK. A 22-year-old blogger, Gabby Petito, had been on a road trip across the U.S. with her fiancé, who is still missing. And what has happened to him? He has been strangled to death. North Korea soldiers smashed bricks, bent rods in display. The display of force was put on for leader Kim Jong-un at a defense exhibition. But you know, when you look at them in general, when they line up, you look at the men and they are all skinny. You ask yourself, I said, these people, they don't need to, do any exercise because they are trimmed, you know. But somebody say, well, they are not getting all the food that they need. That's why, or the necessary nutrients to make them nourished. Are they malnourished? No. Oh well, that is North Korea flexing its muscles. Police hunted protesters with rubber bullets, and activists and former office analyzed video of Minneapolis police days after George Floyd's death. That doesn't speak well for them. Well, it is Starr Radio UK.
Say it again, you've been so good to us, Lord. Lift your voice one more time.
Okay, moving on to some other parts of the world to look at what is happening there. Holocaust survivor Eddie Jaku dies at 101. After surviving the Nazi brutal regime, Jaku dedicated the rest of his life to advocating for peace. Yes, he's one of the old ones who have been doing that. We want to say, may his soul rest in perfect peace, and to the family, our sympathies there. Starr Radio UK. Well, leaders have pledged to avert Afghan catastrophe. The Taliban takeover has caused a massive shock to any economy that was just about surviving. Well, we'll see what is happening there. Starr Radio UK. Well, in Singapore, Singapore, men are going to military jail for their faith. Singapore has a strict military conscription program, putting pacifists in a difficult situation. We'll be looking into details of that. And your faith take you to jail in this time and in this world? But someone will say, if it is an Islamic state or something, they might be able to do that. But if it's a secular country, why did they do that? It is Starr Radio UK. Okay, we go to Africa as well. You've been so good to us, Lord. Lift your voice one more time. Army has been deployed to Eswatini schools. Primary and high school students have been boycotting classes and staged low-key protests. So the army have been dispatched there. Why not the police? And a UN court has rejected Kenya's case in Somalia's border row. The judges ruled largely in Somalia's favor in a row over a potentially oil-rich area of the sea. Woohoo! And the former Algerian president's brother has been jailed. Said Bouteflika sentenced for obstructing the course of justice. Well, interestingly, those of you celebrating Black History Month, Ghana's role in honoring a U.S. civil rights hero, a state-of-the-art complex is to be built in Ghana to remember W.E.B. Du Bois. I remember back in the day whilst I was in the Institute of Journalism, I remember we took some trips to the Du Bois Memorial Center there. So I don't know what they're going to build. Maybe some different and very nice one. But what has been our culture when it comes to maintaining such edifice? Well, we'll see what happens on that one. It is Starr Radio UK. 3 minutes to the top of the time, the hour, the time, the morning show, the program. Archie, I'm here. I'll be joined by Mr. Frank Davis during the course of the program, but stay tuned, don't you go away. Well, Botswana government 6/10 ruling on same-sex. It's going on. And Burkina's court has postponed Sankare's trial for 2 weeks. Why? More on the front coming your way. In Nigeria, EFCC has recovered 1.6 billion naira for armed corn in 4 years. And the National Assembly is withholding details of 1.34 billion naira budget for 2022, despite calls for it to be unveiled. You know, our people. It is Starr Radio UK, but I will bring you more on that front. But I'm sorry, from the northern part of Nigeria, Kano, to be specific. Now, Governor Abdullahi Ganduje of Kano has directed contestants seeking APC Executive Council positions to undergo a mandatory drug test. The 13 councillorship aspirants in Kano had already in the year tested positive for hard drugs. In their fight against the use of hard drugs, they think that, well, leaders must lead by example, and therefore if you want to hold any public office there, you have to go through this test. What do you think about that? Somebody say, well, I've got my own money, I want to kill myself, what is your problem? Well, maybe government can step in and say that you cannot do that. But it is all Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. To Ghana as well. I was up quite early this morning and I was pondering over a few issues here and there. Now, one of them is a fight that Ghanaians, from the clergy right down to the simplest person, or let me put it that way, for lack of words, the commonest person in the country, have all gathered their energy to fight against this LGBTQI+++. But my question is, now when it happens that children are studying, are lying on their bellies like snakes, or in classrooms studying, or under trees studying, we don't see people actually coming out and fighting that way. We had a situation of this illegal mining issue that went on, and the fact that various water bodies were being destroyed. We didn't have people who came out that way. We know that is actually impacting people. We know that it's killing people directly. We didn't want to touch that. When it comes to LGBTQI+++, and people are going crazy, I tell you. If we put the same effort in this, the fight against poverty, health, and every other issue, corruption in the country, I bet you, then I think we can achieve a lot as a country. But what do you think about all that? I'll be bringing you more on that front. A Japan deal is good for Ghana over Riata retreats. What has changed in there? We're trying to see whether we can touch on that as well. And interestingly, NCA has restored licenses of Radio Go, Radio XYZ, and about how many more other radio stations. We'll be looking into that. Somebody say, what is good for the goods is good for the ganders. Go to another government, take power, or come into power and decide that we think that this group or this radio station is for this particular party or affiliate with this particular party, and therefore we want to find ways and means. If they are not doing something, we'll gag on them and then maybe shut them down or something of the sort. How will Ghanaians fare in all that? Well, this is a lot more we're going to be looking at. Got about 58 minutes to do so. Why don't you go away? Continue to share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. To Pastor Emmanuel Chidi, who has also joined in this morning. I've enjoyed myself this morning before even we go into details with all the news that is making the rounds. But you know what? If you are listening to us, if we were in a stadium or something, I would have told you to, light or turn your lights on your phones and let's flash it for Simone Frazier. It was her birthday yesterday. You know, we were trying to get her, we couldn't get her. But Simone, we say massive, giant one, Ghana, Africa, Caribbean, the whole world, happy birthday to you. And we tell you one thing for sure, we love you to bits and understand God is good. Doesn't matter whatever happens, He's always good. He has our backs. All right then, it is Starr Radio UK. I told you I wasn't here by myself. I'm here with my colleague and co-presenter, Mr. Frank Davis, who is also in the house. And let me go to him and say a massive good morning to you, Frank.
Archie, good morning and good morning to our listeners, our viewers, wherever they are. We welcome them to another edition. God has granted us another wonderful day. What can we say?
Another day, and we are here to do our best, and we know you're also there. You can do your best by sharing the broadcast with your friends and loved ones. Why not?
That's the division of labor.
How are you?
Archie, I'm doing very, very well. We spent a lot of time yesterday praying for our sister as well, who celebrated her birthday yesterday. So we are doing well.
Good. Simon, once again, we say happy birthday to you. Your gift is in the studio. If you pass by the studio now, you can get it. If not, DHL.
We've done the first gift spiritually.
Yes.
Yesterday, and we did it in the studio over here after the morning show. Sometimes the Lord says when you do something, you don't allow the other hand to see. Sometimes
Nigerian man will say
yeah, but we will not translate it to physical. Sister Gina, good morning.
Our nurse, we hope you are doing very, very well. It's not your birthday, is it? No. I think your birthday.
They have to remind us. I'm asking Simon reminded us last week. So we kept it. We kept it. You know. We need to keep a register for our
friends and loved ones.
Francis, when is Efia's birthday?
That one is past, I know. I think Francis has the document that holds everybody's birthday.
Francis has been dedicated. He's now assigned register of birthday.
It's one of your new portfolios.
You have to keep it. If you don't inform us, you are in trouble.
Well. Listeners, once again, welcome to the program. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, a Wednesday edition of the morning show. As I said, we've got about only 53 minutes to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds. We'll just touch on one story from Nigeria and then we'll go because we are pressed with time. As I said, Mr. Olayomi is on a mission. As I apologized earlier on, once we are okay with it, he will be joining us. But this is a very, very, I don't know, quite controversial. The APC contestants to have drug tests before elections at the NDLEA office. Now, the story says that Governor Abdullahi Ganduje of Kano has directed contestants seeking APC Executive Council positions to undergo a mandatory drug test. Now, 13 councillorship aspirants in Kano had early in the year tested positive for hard drugs. Now, the governor directed all the contestants to report to the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency in the state for the screening before 7 a.m. This is contained in a statement issued by the Commissioner for Information, Muhammad Gaba, on Wednesday in Kano. The directive is part of government's policy to rid Kano of illicit substance, says Mr. Gaba. He warned that no contestant will be screened without undergoing the mandatory drug test ahead of the October 16 State Congress of the ruling party. Similar tests were carried out for contestants into local government elections, as well as a political appointee or political appointees, including members of the State Executive Council, before offering them a portfolio, added the statement. So this shows that this is a serious problem when it comes to hard drugs in that part of the country. Do you think that is a right move? By the leadership of that state.
I think it's very good. I welcome it. The reason being that, yes, we're not saying that if you take hard drugs, you cannot amount to anything. But there are issues about legality and illegality. Even in this country, we've seen a situation where MPs have been caught using hard drugs, selling hard drugs, sending guys, they are gay boys, to buy drugs for them. They were caught on camera, and so we're not saying that, look, the society is a perfect world. But we know using of hard drugs is an illegality. If you are an institution, you are an organization, that's why even sports, they do regular tests to make sure that, one, people on hard drugs are not allowed into it. There's a bit of reputational issue over there that we need to, they need to look at. If, for instance, you are a party representative, you are found to be using hard drugs, the reputational damage that it brings, because that party is a brand.
Mm-hmm.
The damage it brings to that brand, sometimes you spend hours on hours trying to defend something that needlessly that could have been avoided.
Yeah.
Instead of projecting your policies, you're not trying to dig in deep to defend one of your own who might be found wanting because they've done something illegal. And again, it's about setting an example for those you leading. That if our standard, or we are saying that we do not want drugs, we do not want illegal drugs, illicit drugs to be part of us, and we are demanding that from our officials, you again telling the public that the people I am putting in responsible position who help me administer and enforce the laws as provided for by the state and the constitution are people who, when it comes to drug, cannot be found wanting. Are you get me? I think it's a good move. It's a good move. People say, and what they call it, right? No, I don't think illegality has to do any right over here. That's why they do it in secret. If it's legal, they will be doing it in public. But once they do it in secrecy, once they they don't want people to see it, once it is illegal, it means society-wide, we do not, accept it. And I do believe that is the right thing to do.
The right thing to
personally, I think the right thing to do.
What help are they giving to people who, because for people to be using drugs, addiction, is the addictive nature of the drugs that causes the whole thing. Maybe somebody just go and have one puff or something is the role. But when the person becomes addicted to it, but here in this part of the world where we see there is lots of drug usage, but there is that safety net there where they will try to help you to get you out of it. Now, what is the state actually doing?
Actually, if you go back to politics and you look at Boris Johnson and most of these cabinet ministers, most of them have admitted using drugs before, but where they are now, they no longer use it. Now, you also have to weigh in, and if you are an individual who is using drugs, the question you have to be asking yourself is, the job being advertised, do I qualify? Every job has a bit of criteria. Some, even if you go to the police force, they take you to training, they take you to some exercises to be able to do fitness tests before they recruit you. And it's part of the recruitment side. Now, this is a recruitment side, and they're saying if you want to get this job, you must be drug clean. Now, it's up to you if you're on drugs and you still want to apply. Then you must know
that you are clean.
Before you go. So it's not for everyone. But as the head of that state, you need to make sure that we want to fight drugs. I cannot have drug users leading the fight against drugs. It's not going to happen. We need to set a good example. Now, the issue about whether they are rehabilitating this thing, I doubt. I do not know that
our system have not got things like that in place.
I don't know that much. I don't think they do have anything of sort. But I do believe that it's a very, very good decision that these leaders are taking. I might be right, I might be wrong, but will I fault him? No. Will I praise him for it? Yes, because you need to start instilling discipline at the top.
Well. Instilling discipline, rehabilitation. What have they done?
Actually, let's assume you are recruited and someone is recruited, and here we are. We want to help fight the drug, and this is a person who you buy drugs from or you share drugs.
How can they arrest him?
How you going to?
Charlie, I'm arresting you.
Or you are even asked to draft a bill, or help make a decision on a bill that will prevent people from. You just going to be looking at the loopholes that will allow them to trade, more and do more, because you are basically an active beneficiary.
But is that not going to drive those who are involved in that trade to the underground, and now it makes it quite.
No, because the numbers that we're talking about over here who will be going for that job are just minute. There are just a limited number of a few people who are going for that such a job. Okay. So it's about taking responsibility over here. Okay. Setting a direction and sending a message that look, there are some. If it is a statewide declaration that anyone who is found to, or any job that you're going through, or whatever you do, even driving license, whatever you need to, go for what they call drug test, and that, it's going to be a problem. And even that in this country, for instance, we say don't drink and drive.
Right.
That has it's not the same as saying that do not drink at all. Now, what you can take your drink, but don't drive when you drink.
Yeah.
Are you getting me? When you are drunk. Again, we know drug. The drug people who take drugs, they don't take drugs and drive. At the end of the day, they are not that don't take your drug. If it's illegal drug, and they catch you, they will arrest you. But the advice is that do not take drugs and drive. If you do that, you endanger life. So they are not saying, okay, you know what? If nobody should take drugs, you can continue. Although we're doing everything, but if you know you are not clear of drugs, do not come for an interview or this.
Well, it is Starr Radio UK. I wanted to hop straight from Nigeria, but there's one story that has come up that we need to quickly touch on, because I know our listeners are listening to that. Now, Governor Kayode Fayemi has come under attack for urging President Muhammadu Buhari to turn the National Youth Service Corps (CAMS) into security training grounds and recruit willing and able graduates to join the military and the police. Why? To fight Boko Haram.
Why is it being attacked? I don't understand. Do we need to beef our security? Yes, because we know even the numbers that we have are being killed, right? And the numbers are not going to be replenished just by, flipping your fingers. It's not going to happen. It takes time to get a competent officer. Are we overwhelmed? So far, the Nigerian authorities seems to tell us that they cannot handle it. That's why they are even appealing for citizens to take responsibilities. Is that not similar to Amatekun or whatever? Is that not similar to? I do not understand why he should come under attack. All he's suggesting is that, look, there's a security vacuum. It seems we lack the numbers. It seems we need more men on the ground. Can we use facilities that we have?
This is like national service people.
Can we use it so that the willing is not say false? He's not saying force the people to go into military. They say,
but those who are willing.
Those who are willing. Because actually, the fact of the matter is that sometimes you do the national service, which is supposed to be a national service, and it's a waste of time. To be honest with you, it's a waste of time. What they ask you to do is a waste of time. It's like national punishment. That is it, national punishment. Someone who has graduated might be going to military. They want them to go and do 1 year national service before they go to the military. If you can train them so that those who are willing start their national service straight on by joining the military, why not?
Okay, Olayomi says, as a Yoruba person still saying you believe in Nigeria when you're not benefiting from it, it's like saying your life don't worth anything. Yoruba, don't sleep. Enough is enough. Okay, it goes on to say the present government of today have failed to provide an enabling environment for the young leaders to thrive and contribute, but they choose to kill us, all of us, one by one. And he puts emoji of a fuming emoji. They're blowing hot air from their nostrils, so it's not happy at all. But some people are saying that, well, this governor who was saying that Governor Kayode Fayemi, his children are abroad. Why doesn't he bring them to set an example? Let them come and join there. They say, we'll fight the Boko Haram first, and then they will also follow suit. Leadership by example. Well, this is where we will have to bring the update from Nigeria to a close, because it is a Wednesday edition of the morning show. We have to go on to have a look at some other stories making the rounds. As I said earlier, during the course of the week, we are going to be having, in the next few weeks, having reportage from the eastern part of Africa, namely Uganda, where we'll be having a representative from Teso. Is it Teso?
Yeah, Voice of Teso.
Voice of Teso. Yeah, we'll be having a report straight from there as well on the ground. But if you're listening to us, maybe you want us to, pick a feed from where you are and maybe giving us updates in your community. Why not? Get in touch with us and we'll do so. You can email us. It is info@starradiouk.com, info@starradiouk.com, or text or WhatsApp at 075-3966-1744. 075-3966-1744. Okay, Star Radio UK. 20 minutes past the top of the hour. EU to offer fewer Northern Ireland border checks on British goods, and that means Brexit. The EU set out a proposal later to address the row about trade in Northern Ireland. The UK wants to change the deal struck as part of the Brexit process to allow goods to circulate more freely between Great Britain and Northern Ireland. It says the current rules impose too many barriers to the sale of chilled meats and other products. The EU's proposal, which it calls for reaching, are expected to involve reduced checks on goods and medicines. At the start of the year, a new post-Brexit arrangement known as the Northern Ireland Protocol was introduced to help prevent checks along the border between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. It involves keeping Northern Ireland in the EU single market for goods, but this in turn creates a new trade border with Great Britain. Unionists say this undermines their place in the UK. We know how the Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland they really want to be together. I mean, most of them will want to be together, but we have those who are what they call them, the unionists, who want to be part of the UK, the United Kingdom still, and they are the ones who, but they're trying to go back to now renegotiate.
Actually, we know as a matter of fact that post-Brexit relationship is going to be a bit of frosty. It's not going to be smooth as we were told initially. That's never going to happen. And we've seen evidence, and this story again is based on one negative impact of what is happening. Barriers. I mean, the promise there's one going to be barriers, but the practical issue is that we are seeing barriers that are frustrating people doing business across that border. What is about happening to see if they did fully finish that relationship definition, what arrangement should be between the Northern Ireland. You know, there was going to be a border, someone said no borderless, a border in the sea, or whatever it is, which is why
whether it's in the sea or not, it's still a border,
it's still a border. So that relationship has not been finalized yet, and UK seems to be found wanting. They are now in a difficult situation what to do about that. Mind you, I mean, what they thought was going to happen, that Brexit will mean an automatic trade deal between UK and the US has not happened. Because US, for instance, the current administration in particular has warned that the relationship between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland will be very much is being watched, and they wouldn't accept anything that would jeopardize the peace that those two countries have enjoyed over years. So US is in trouble now. I mean, UK is basically in trouble. What do we do now? Here we are. We hesitate, and again we want to trade. Our trading partners or people we thought we have special relationship with, the US, that we thought we could get a wave. I mean, through deal with. It's not happening. Because they still are not again convinced about certain. And again, they were warned about this. UK is about 70 million, right? The whole of the EU bloc is more than
that UK.
So you're also gonna look at what deal with the EU. I mean, will it be more beneficial for me to deal with the EU as against the UK? Because at the end of the day, it's all about business interests they are all looking at. Whether it's the UK or the US, it's business interests that they are looking at. Actually, let's hope that they come out with something. But as we see here, I think UK is on the back foot.
It's on the back foot.
And they're on the back foot, and I don't know how they're going to manage this. In fact, Brexit is becoming the evidence is every day is coming out that look. We made a wrong move. I mean, this morning, for instance, I was reading some stories and listening to some news item. The labor shortage that is hitting the industry left and right. From so there's one job I nearly called for. I wanted to do as part time. I enjoy that kind of job I was going to do because I wanted to go to do something for Africa. They said classic cars.
Classic cars.
Cars.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, one car, I think we were talking about one Porsche something, almost a 200,000. But I'm going to call them for something because I think on my travels, I might have to do some business with them. And they said, look, we've advertised for jobs. We're 14, we're looking for staff. We cannot get. Every day, I mean, people scared, they can't get jobs. And they keep on saying, look, where we are now, we are screwed. And this Christmas, people should start cancelling their Christmas plans because at the end of the day, we do not have staff. Even Turkey, we might not be able to supply the country they want. Actually, that was Brexit.
Well, we say Brexit means Brexit. They asked and they say it means Brexit. And we are Brexiting. So let's enjoy the Brexit. Well, it is Starr Radio UK. Now, life expectancy in the UK. Many areas in the north of England have seen life expectancy fall within the last decade. The differences across England have now become stark, says researchers, such as a 27-year gap in life expectancy for a man living in Kensington and Chelsea compared with Blackpool. Although COVID caused life expectancy to drop, there's research suggests it was already in decline in many areas. Researchers describe the trend as alarming. There has always been an impression in the UK that everyone's health is improving, even if not at the same pace, said Dr. Majid Ezati from the Imperial College London, which carried out the study. This data shows that the longevity has been getting worse for years in large parts of England. Now let me just jump straight to areas where if you are living, you are sure that hey, you are living good. Areas in London and the home counties still continued on the path of living longer, but life expectancy fell in some urban parts of Leeds, Newcastle, Manchester, Liverpool, and Blackpool, where life expectancy was below 70 for men and 75 for women. So I think people have to now migrate from there. If you don't want to die.
I'm very, very much interested in that research because again brings back certain questions about policy decisions. This morning, we chancelled a news item which suggests that the mayor is being pushed to start charging per mile drivers in this country, in London. When you drive, they charge you per mile. Actually, when I went outside London on Saturday, I saw the cars people were driving. I asked myself, why are we being punished in London? Is it because it's a cosmopolitan area, they just want to raise money? Now, report is that it's reducing life expectancy, that's emission. Here is a report saying that we are living longer. So at the end of the day, if it's a money making tool, they should just tell us that we want to raise more money. You take congestion charge for instance. Congestion, as I understand it, and the English word congestion has to do with quantity. It has to do with numbers. It has nothing to do with quality.
No, so traffic numbers being brought down.
But we are being told that you can drive to congestion zone without paying if you drive electric car. So the question is, was the aim congestion
for pollution or for
what was it? So because we know the ULEZ is for for air. Congestion is for numbers. So you want to reduce the and indeed numbers have reduced. With that has come the collapse of a lot of shops on Oxford Street. Actually, you go to Marble Arch, walking down to Oxford Street, a lot of shops have parked and gone. They've parked and gone. All those who used to sell souvenirs and other, that before COVID. I mean, they will use COVID as an excuse, but that before COVID, the shops are closing. Dorothy Parker and other things.
They are gone.
They've gone. Philip Grey and other things. They've gone. Selfridges and other things.
I mean,
all the big ones are. Even Marks and Spencer in 2-3 years time, that shop. Not that it's gone. I'm telling you, it's going.
Oh man.
They said they are refurbishing the place. They are rebuilt because the building has a bit of structure. They say. But they can't do a lot of it. They wanted to break it down, but it's a listed property.
So you can't destroy it.
So they have to
maintain.
But the question is that you're looking at, apart from a few guys who come and shop over then, the city workers and other things, the traffic has considerably reduced. Again, the city has considerably reduced. I mean, yeah, they will still keep it for a few bit, but it's reduced. They've now got another shop just, from Marble Arch to Edgeware Road, where C charge does not apply. Are you getting it? Then you ask
where
yourself,
people troop in and they go.
it.
Yeah.
You ask yourself, is the C charge for congestion? Because if you're telling us that all Londoners should go electric, it means it defeat the whole congestion. Because if we all drive in there,
electric, then congestion will now come again.
Are you getting me? So, I mean, some of these policy decisions that they take, it's a bit of a trouble. But hey,
if you drive through Croydon, now there are some roads now where I told you that I had tickets a couple of times where they tell you not to drive through. Then I'm asking myself, why?
The other time I was driving with Caroline, and I said, Caroline, don't drive here.
She did.
Oh, she said she knows the road. I should keep quiet. I also sat down. So no. Actually, I was watching. I saw the camera. So when we got close to that place, I said,
"Can you see?"
I said, "Stop." There was a police car behind us. So I said, "Stop. Look over there. Read." About 10. So we had to go. She was fuming. I said, "Yeah, that's what they've done."
Yeah. But so you ask yourself the question: what is it meant for? Is it pollution or is it reduction in traffic on that road?
I mean, I think they
say for greener, whatever.
They want to push
but
more fast.
Next lane, there is a major road where lots of the cars fly, and we're talking about air that blows everywhere. What are they talking about?
One thing we need to understand: there's a business model that is being applied. For every driver that stops driving, it means a bit of £2-3 or £5 for the transport system a day. If I don't drive to come to work and go back, I will spend about £6 or something like that. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, yes, I buy fuel, it goes to the economy, but it does not go to the micro London mayor. Okay? The tax on it go to the treasury. The profit on it will go to the Shell or whoever I buy from. Part of the money will be used to pay workers that are working and all those things. Yes, I understand. But when I take a bus, London mayor increases their intake from the public. And that's exactly what they are driving at. They need more money, and that's what because if you get frustrated and you go to a bus, you pay.
Yeah.
I mean, and the buses, whether they are full or not, they move.
They move.
So they get more fuel onto the bus, more money.
I think we all have to get those scooters, you know.
Well,
get a helmet with it.
Yesterday I went to shop and I looked at it. When I went to PC Carries yesterday, I was looking at it. I went and looked at one and said, you are my next target.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they legalize it, I mean, because why I don't want to get it is because they're saying that no, you cannot use that. I don't know for whatever regulations that they're trying to put.
How many can they please arrest on the road?
You might be only you right. They say, hey, yours is not. It's not the mayor's one. Meanwhile, they say the mayor has some that they want us to use.
Again, it's about business. What the mayor has done, what they've done, they've actually demarcated certain areas where they park them. Just like the way they did Boris
their bikes. Yeah.
They now realize that these things are faster than the bikes, and people prefer them than the bikes.
Yeah.
So they are preventing people from buying it, but you can rent it. The question here is this: they say it's a trial version. They will tell you they've reduced the speed, and therefore those are a bit safer. They got lights and other stuff. Okay, assuming I have lights on my these scooters and everything.
Yeah.
What is the difference between the hired one
and the one that I'm a private one?
The only difference here is that one, I'm paying the mayor. One, I'm saving my money because I've saved my money and I bought one.
Yeah.
Because one, they don't provide me with the scooter, the helmet that they need. They've not provided me with license to say that I'm qualified enough. Because licensing should be, if they're talking about health and safety, the competence of those who ride it should be, and how do you determine competence? Licensing. You've not licensed people. Once you can pay, you can take it.
And rest ride.
A woman complained about they woke up an estate that has been quiet, or before they realize, someone in Hammersmith area, before they realize these scooters, the scooters bay, and the person said, look, sometime at night, midnight, you see about 3 people on one scooter. The kids come to rent it and play with it. The noise they create over there. Again, it's money.
Money makes the world move around. Well, so maybe you have to contribute to the mayor's scheme some way, somehow. But it is Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. It's now 11:35 and we'll go straight to Ghana to have a look at some of the other stories making the rounds there. There are a few stories here and there, but I promise you tomorrow we're going to be having time to look into details of those stories. But let me announce the lines open as well. If you want to join in, you can hop on and just bring your take. You can post it on our Facebook page, as some of our wonderful viewers, listeners have done this morning. Yes, you can call us on 0208-133-2257 or 58 or 0208 0208-133-2257 or 58. Or if you are in the US or Canada or the Caribbean area, it's 001-718-303-2737. 001-718-303-2737. You can also text or WhatsApp us at 075-3966-1744. 075-3966-1744. You can also tweet at us. Our Twitter handle is Starr Radio UK. At Starr Radio UK, and the email address is info@starradiouk.com. So make sure you get in touch. I mean, don't be a spectator, be a citizen. Get involved. Okay, now let's move on to some of the stories that is making the rounds in Ghana. Okay, I'll just hop on straight. The National Democratic Congress must understand that politics is about members and numbers, and any action that tend to alienate people is detrimental to the growth of the organization. It is very disturbing how some people feel they have inalienable right to criticize, attack, insult, or profile others who are not amenable to their dictates. Now, this story is headed NDC at Crossroads. Now, a few months ago, it was alleged that some party members were in the Eastern region engaging in anti-party engagements, in which press statements, radio and television interviews were granted, and threats of sanctions were issued to those party members. Now, but others have the right to censure the party members whom they think are not qualified to contest their favorite candidate, and have the courage to denigrate the former governor of Bank of Ghana, former finance minister, and member of several boards and successful entrepreneur as someone not worthy of contesting the NDC presidential primaries. And nobody at the party leadership saw those diatribes as offensive to condemn. Then the party has no future. So somebody's trying to write some serious thing, trying to analyze what we've been talking about. Now, I think a day before yesterday, the former governor that they're talking about has sent a video around, some video clip around, showing his interest in being the flag bearer of the. But this article that this person has written, is it justified?
Actually, yes and no. I agree 100% with him that people have the right to support whoever they want. And in fact, the party, NDC party constitution, unless it's been amended and for which it will cease to be a political party that operates under the law, allows individuals who are registered members qualified enough to avail themselves to contest for any position within the office and hold any office within the party. That is something that is there. So no one can stop, and no one should attempt to stop anyone. But the conduct of such a competition will need to inure to the benefit of the party. You cannot tell us that, for instance, you have been given a voice to sing, you sing very beautiful melodies, and therefore you wake up at 3 a.m. and start screaming in your bedroom because you think that you have the best voice. Others are sleeping. You might be causing others. There are social hours and there are unsocial hours.
Yeah.
That's why the law again provides that yes, you have a voice, you can sing, but noise level must be maintained at certain levels.
Yeah.
And then social hours from 9 o'clock to a certain time, you cannot do certain things. Look, there's a party structure for a reason. I've not seen the video, and I know this is coming at the back of that video which Dufour is alleged, his media team is alleged at 1 minute 21 seconds. I'm told is alleged to have sent out urging people to register for NDC, to register to join NDC. Now the question again is, there are rules for issuing statements or media adverts in the name of the party. I read somewhere that the organizer of the party, Akamba, has come out to basically say that the party leadership disassociate itself from such a media one would have thought, look, even cemeteries want more numbers.
Yeah.
Why won't you praise someone who
is calling for people to do that?
Okay, but then you see, Archie, I can stand up and call myself an NDC and issue anything and say it's an NDC. I'm doing it in the name of Member Drive. I can go and gather gays today and say, I'm registering you for NDC. I can go and gather cats, dogs. I can go to any and do anything today and say I'm registering it for. The question is, if every member, in attempt to register more members, decide that they will do things without going to the approval, it might get to a point where your brand then get tarnished because you do not know. Again, duplication of efforts, duplicator activities. I mean, we understand that there was a team, including the current youth leader. I've not verified this, and the former, I think, communication director who was defeated by Sami Jemfi, Solomon Kansa, had a cause that the Eastern region beat. That, I mean, their story was raising. Had a call, had a meeting with people, and it was to promote Dr. Dufour's what they call a campaign. I see nothing wrong with, and even Mahama himself want to promote Dufour. That's nothing wrong with it. But I do believe that NDC, yes, the party is at the cross, the articles is at the cross, and I believe they are at a crossroad. How they handle this is going to be who decide for the NDC. We know the former flag bearer and the leader of the party currently is on tour now. It's in the Eastern region. The question is, are those people who he's going to be working with, the leaders, are they all in support of him or anything? Do they still want him to go and oppose? And I have no doubt in my mind that he will still be retained as the flag bearer if he decides to contest. So the question there will be, what then do we have? And as I've always said, actually, I hate hypocrites in politics. I do not like people who say this because I'm MPP, and when it comes to NDC, they say it differently. One charge NDC led against Akufo-Addo was about his age. Okay, they bashed Akufo-Addo about his age. They circulated images about his sleeping. They said that he's supposed to go into pension. A friend of my friend, Black Rasta, is one person who campaigned against, I mean, old age president. He will bash anyone above 70 who wants to contest. The other time I spoke to him, I said, I know I've been following. You've basically been bashing Akufo-Addo because of age. You call him sleepy president. Dr. Dufour wants to contest to be a president. Or what they say, you know, I say he's a joker. Because he's going to, he's not discriminating. So NDC actually bash those who are aged. Dr. Dufour is close to 8 years. How are you going to? You are not a person of principle. Are you getting me? Were you campaigning on age? Were you using age because it offered you political advantage at that time because Akufo-Addo? Principles are principles. I have nothing. I said I have nothing personal against Dr. Dufour, apart from the fact that for me, I think he's one of those who have caused out the problems the youth face today.
Well, somebody said that he wasn't the president. He was just the governor and the finance minister. Well, it is Starr Radio UK. 11:45 the time. In the next 15 minutes, we'll be taking you to Holy Road, where there are Parliament is sitting for some of their deliberations there. So stay tuned, don't you go away. But let's touch on this before we come to the Japa deal. Now you see the efforts, the vim, I'm trying to get more synonyms, gusto that people have, the communities have put into this anti-gay bill, the pro-anti-gay bill thing. And you look at the way clergy and various people have been going on trying to, add their voices to it. Now, do you think that if Ghanaians will look at issues that is going on that are killing us by day, we see it. We see the accidents on the roads because the roads have not been, marked properly or have not been constructed properly or are so bad. Now, do you think that if as a nation we prioritize things, somebody tell you that, I listened to a discussion earlier this morning, somebody was saying that, well, gay, those who want to be that, they can be that, though we are saying that they cannot, they shouldn't bring it to our faces, okay? But what damage would they cause as compared to those who are doing galamsey, destroying water bodies and causing all this mayhem and accident that is happening on the road because contractors are not doing what they're supposed to do or government is failing and students who are lying on their bellies learning and that trees where when it rains now they all have to vacate and go home and look at various conditions that are going on. If we should put all our efforts and support the cause, that government has to do something about it the same way that we are doing to this, that people are thinking it's not that important, we have more important issues that will help us. What do you say?
Archie, rallying people around any cause is something that we all welcome, but you're not going to achieve that because people have different interests, and at a particular every subject will raise and will tickle different interests. If you're going to talk, for instance, about galamsey issue, people in government who should be taking decisions, be enforcing the law and doing the right thing, you see their supporters coming against you because you raise that issue, you're going to
touching their umbilical cord.
You talk about schools under trace, they do not want to hear about it because the government has promised they will do within 18 months, all those things will be 18 of the past, but we see more school building collapsing. And therefore, you basically touching on their political nerves, and therefore, you basically an endangered species when it comes to them. They will come after you. We saw what happened when Captain Smart went did some viewing of a hospital. We saw they even deployed police of soldiers to go and even stop parliamentarians trying to go and verify exactly what is happening. So those interests will vary, and they basically are linked again to political parties and political interests and our stupid worshipping of individuals instead of being principled and pushing for what is common good. On the contrary, I am on a platform with a lot of both NDC and MPP. There's one platform, for instance, you call Think About Ghana, and you realize that when it came to this very particular issue about homosexuality, it's something that cuts across both political divides. Those who are for it, irrespective of whether they're NDC or their MPP, are for it. Those who are against it, irrespective of whether they are MPP or NDC, are against it. To a point where even the majority in Parliament yesterday they held a press conference trying to state their position. Chairman led a press conference because they realized that it is now becoming like NDC against MPP.
MPP are
because those who are championing it, the bill, are mostly NDC members, and therefore they think that it is becoming something that people will look at as a bill. Now the second test is there. When this bill gets passed, passing it does not mean that it becomes effective. In this country, you pass a bill through the House of Lords and through the House of Commons, the Queen need to assent. Our position in Ghana's case, Akufo-Addo will need to sign it. Will he sign it? It's an albatross around his neck. Will he sign it? It's an albatross around his neck. So you're going to see a lot of political, and if you're looking at the opinion he expressed in the past, and recently we know he made a comment that under his watch, gay and homosexuality will not become, they will not pass a law that allow marriage. But actually, the word marriage again is different. Because under normal circumstances, what people are talking about over here hasn't got to do with marriage. It's about the practice of it. It is about the practice of it. So if you stand on a pulpit or stand on a stage, a podium, and say politically that you will not pass a law that will legalize or that will legalize what they call gay marriages, you haven't said anything. You haven't said anything. At the end of the day, it is a practice of it that people are talking about. I get me. But this homosexuality issue, I 100% agree. Can we really support like this
for other issues?
Actually, we know because of political interest, it's not going to happen.
Well, because of political interest, we've got only 9 minutes to go. But Olayomi has sent us some breaking news. He said gunmen have attacked police station in Bayelsa and have killed officer, injured others. And he said, and this Buhari, he's adding it. He's listening to it. He's coming to it. And this Buhari government think he can send army everywhere. Instead of dialogue, he's using bullets on Igbo people. Come one, okay. He says common sense is lost. Okay, let me leave it there. But I verified, and it is true. It is true. Tension in Bayelsa. That was when it was developing as gunmen ambush police patrol team and cut away rifles. That is what is going on in Nigeria at the moment.
Can you imagine? So the gunmen on it. You see, that is when that officer. I think yesterday we were looking at it. When it come to tell her that the security situation, yes, they came to mend, but it's improving. I said he doesn't know what he's talking about.
It's worse off than what it was.
He doesn't, because Archie, I don't remember a week that goes past now that we don't hear of some of these
abduction.
It's I don't know. Actually, I'm scared. I'm scared, really, really scared for Nigeria. And look, if there's a problem in Nigeria now, actually, you look at Amazonia, which is already trouble zone. That whole enclave, leading to Niger, where we know the trouble because of what happened in Libya. We know that whole enclave again is unstable. Now you're going to add Nigerian troubles to it. I'm really
the spillover, the whole of the West African sub-region is going to suffer.
Really scared. I'm really worried.
Well, maybe one day, somehow, some way, it will all stop. Well, you close your eyes, you open, and it stopped.
A lot of pastors that are in the churches praying, please step out. We need to work out. It's not God who is not answering our prayers, but I think we're not doing more. We need to engage the community more.
Engage the community more. Well, when it comes to engaging, the finance minister Ken Ofori-Atta has once again defended the controversial mineral royalties deal. Ejapa saying it is in the best interest of Ghana. Now, addressing the board of the Minerals Income and Investment Funds, Ms. Ofori-Atta said government has taken note of concerns raised against the bill, and the Attorney General will address them before taking it back to Parliament. In a quote, he said, "You must continue with the work that has been done following the theme of the budget continuity, consolidation, and completion, and address and overcome all the concerns against the Ejapa transaction, so we can go to the market and create the first mineral royalty company in Ghana, in Africa, because it is good for Ghana," he said. Now, somebody, I don't know where he's or how he's seeing this Ejapa deal. Maybe he's got a good idea or a good mind about the whole thing.
He has a diabolic mind. He has a diabolic mind. You see, the first thing, the name Ejapa itself should be taken out of that bill. The name Ejapa should be taken out of that bill. May I put on record that Ken Oforiatta and his team were not those who started this. The current person who is now vying to be the flag bearer of NSA, Komla Dufo, was instrumental in this.
Okay.
This thing started during Professor Mill's time. And indeed in 2012, 2012 was that, a bill was passed that allowed for our minerals to be traded on the world market straight. But the structure that they were going to use is not what a Japan. There was nothing like an offshore. There was a vehicle, a special purpose vehicle that was supposed to be established in Ghana, right? Bank of Ghana and Parliament were supposed to be part of it, and it can be floated, and it was supposed to be floated from there. They did not say go and register
another company
in your family member's name. When you fail to disclose the directors of that company, name it a Japan. There's nothing like a Japan. In fact, the signatories to that a Japan company in this end, when you look at the shareholdership of that, the chairman of the chairman from Parliament who was basically representing the two appointees of the government who were registered a sister company, a subsidiary company in Ghana, which was supposed to be answerable to the tax haven company. When you look at the share agreement, they are not part of shareholders. So Archie, I appoint you from Parliament to represent us on this. You sign the document registering, right? You are an appointed director. When it comes to the shareholder ownership of that company, you have no shares in that company because your shares, if you acting on our behalf, the shares you have not in your capacity as a president, but as a representative of the government, must be for the government, right? Here you are, the Japan company that you claim belongs to government.
You have
You've not disclosed the shareholders. Archie, the name of Japan itself they shouldn't even bring it. We want to see the bill. I was so much interested in that bill. I still have it on my table. I was so much interested in that Japan, and thank God. We did a lot of things behind the scene. I recall I had a discussion with Simon and Franklin Kujo about this, and actually, look, we wait for them to put the bill forward. Let's look at what is it. Then we can scrutinize it.
What do you think if they put in there, or you see in there, if that is in there, you will say, okay,
actually,
let's do it.
In the first place, there must not be anything like a tax having registration where we do not know who owns it.
Okay.
Even if you're going to register a tax haven, the mother company must be in Ghana, not the other one. So that the responsibility is, and the people who should be appointed over there must be appointed by the government, not a few people, right? Here's the case: you actually in part of those documents and the bill you were bringing, the directors cannot be changed. They cannot be questioned. They determine. You make your family members the directors, the signatories. They determine what is. I mean, come on. They make decisions to what should be traded and other. Actually, that bill was one of the most sophisticated thievery schemes that I've ever seen any government trying to. Unleash on his own people. Actually, it's worse than what do you call it? This guy. Sam Jones good.
Oh wow,
it's worse.
Wow,
it's worse.
Do you think? I mean, our time is up, but okay. Do you think that Parliament, as it stands now, can do diligence to the bill if it's brought to?
I think one good thing that helped. Even I am of opinion, and it's my firm belief. If the last Parliament, who passed that bill, are the blind side, but the public stood up to force the government to change it. I think the public are more vigilant now than they've ever been, and I do believe that if they bring anything to do with tax haven, they bring anything that does not go back to the structure, that gave, because the mineral income bill itself, the whole thing was designed with a purpose, to benefit the country, not a family, not a Japa, a good father. Akufado has come and they've done good for their generation.
And you're talking about Father Ghana.
No, it's not.
We have Father Ghana and we have Father Ghana.
Actually, no, because actually, the structure of the bill at that time, it's like handing over this cup that belongs to all of us. I'm giving it to you.
Yeah.
Keep it with your family, and you decide
what
that,
I will give it.
We are trading part of it, and then we'll give you back to the whole society a bit of. Actually, it is one of. I keep on saying it was a diabolic thievery mechanism that would have unleashed all minerals, the royalties we get into the hands of a family. No, look, we when the fought wars. Queen Elizabeth is queen because of what his great grandfathers did.
Yeah.
The fourth wars. Yeah. What they are fighting now is what I call it is financial war. They want to create a system for their generations to come. You see, like the way the Floria family has ownership of land. That's exactly that they are doing. It's a exact structure that we use legal system to take control of the royal mineral resources of the country. Not even those who are only those that are discovered. Those who
are yet to
be discovered.
Wow.
Actually, are yet to.
Wow.
The swans.
Yeah.
When they lay new eggs. That's exactly what they were doing. They shouldn't. Actually, that bill. We started organizing. We're watching it. I'm excited. We're watching it. Yeah.
Okay. We're watching it wherever you are. We want to have. What we'll do is we'll try to go through. That bill once it's put across.
Once it comes, I tell you what,
scrutinize
the day it passes, they will send me a copy.
We will scrutinize it.
Page by
definitely.
It's we not accept any diabolic moves. I have iron in my village, right?
Yeah.
I have iron in my village. There are iron deposits in my village. No, the one Aquapim Togo.
Yeah.
Aquapim Togo, there's a lot of iron over there, right?
Minerals there,
I live close to Aquapim Togo. There's iron over there. You telling me that we should, outsource or we should mortgage part of that to a Chebi enclave? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Okay.
I'm sorry about it, but that Japan did. They shouldn't even name it that Japan did. Because
what name would you want to be given to it?
There's a name that was given to it. Mineral Income Company gave it a name. It's called Ghana. So I'll give you the name, but it has to do with Ghana. I'll bring you the name. It's Ghana something.
But at least you know that it's got Ghana, which means that it belongs to the country, not some individual.
It was passed under Mahama. That structure, the structure of that bill started under Professor Mills, ended up under Mahama. The structure of that bill, actually, it is quite to be. You recall, what do you call it? Mahama saying that when it gets to power, they will start holding part of gold and other.
Yeah.
It's linked together.
Okay.
It's Mineral Commission was going to have a strong role. Bank of Ghana was going to have a strong role. They're going to start opening market where even Africans will float on Ghana Stock Exchange and then float to international staking. At the end of the day, it's not in the family of any individual.
No. For all of us.
Japan says it's for Akufo-Addo and his family. No, it's not going to happen.
Okay, listeners, we want to say thank you very much for joining us. But let me read a few comments that has come to us from Abraham Mawula. It says, good afternoon to you, sir. Now, Olayomi just says the soldiers that are meant to protect lives and properties are the very ones destroying them. Though that's those things that they are destroying belong to the unknown gunmen. Okay, that's a question that is posed. Abraham Mawula also said Nigeria will never work if we still have this group of corrupt leaders that they are corrupt politicians, corrupt kings, corrupt journalists, corrupt religious leaders, and corrupt men and women in uniform. So he's listed all the corrupt people, and I think that if we have them still there, nothing good will happen. But Frank, before we go,
I've just received a message, a press release, but I don't know whether we should read it. And this is coming from Seventh Day Adventist Church.
Okay.
It says Seventh Day. Sent to me by one of their leaders. We're on a platform, so that forwarded to me. It says Southern Ghana Union Conference, Seventh Day Adventist Church, and it's addressed by Pastor Dr. Thomas Taki Okran, and he reads statement on homosexuality by the Seventh Day Adventist Church. Let me see if I can scramble through it. The Seventh Adventist is rooted in the Word of God, the Bible. This means that our beliefs and stance on all issues of life are grounded in the Bible. On the issue of homosexuality, the church upholds the biblical view that homosexuality in all its manifestation is a perversion of the natural order of human sexuality. It is a sin, and as all other sins, those who practice it must be saved. Our Lord Christ died to save sinners from this. And let me paraphrase. We believe that the blood of Jesus, blah blah blah. The question: will the Adventist Church support a legislation that criminalizes the act? Our answer is yes. Why? All forms of sin must be controlled and restrained by law. Laws are redemptive tools intended for restoring the dignity of humans who were created in the image of God. Therefore, Adventists support the promotion of proper human sexual rights and the family bill. We want the bill passed into law because all sins left unchecked will plunge the earth into okay, blah 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 blah. So basically, they've now made their stance, and it's signed by Pastor Dr. Thomas Taki Okran, President, Seventh Day Adventist Church, for and on behalf of the Adventist Church Union, Ghana.
Hey, okay, so the fight goes on. Aluta continua on that front. We hope that somehow common sense prevails. Common sense prevails. I mean, why let people know why they think that is not on, and let everybody accept it. And again, we have to just.
I think it's too early. The level at which the gay wants to put. I think the ground is not fertile for that. And the issue about listen, I know we go past our time. The issue about Ghana, I mean, will be criminal. Look, we have countries that have criminalized it, and I personally, I do not think the time is right.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Our children might come, but they should look at Ghana at the time they claim to have discovered Ghana when introducing Bible to us.
How long since? And how long since when they've got to where they've got to?
That's how they have to look for. That's how they have to look at. I mean, this country, because at that time, William Wilberforce and all those things, St. James and others, would they have accepted that?
Nope.
They would have taken them to the gallows.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, listeners, we want to say thank you very much for joining us once again. We'll take you to the Select Committee room where Baroness Bascombe is on her feet, addressing the committee there. Stay tuned. Don't you go away. It is Starr Radio UK. This afternoon, we'll bring you lots of music and let's talk. And I don't think there's going to be Naija voices tonight, but if there is, we'll give you the update. And then, as we said, Yomi is busy trying to do some investigative work, which we will be unfolding to you during the course of the days. God richly bless you. It's me, Archie, Mr. Frank Davids, and we want to say thank you to Abraham Mawula, Olayomi Joe, Pastor Chidi, Ozo, Francis, and every one of you who tuned in today to listen to us. We'll be back tomorrow, God willing, if we are still alive. Bye-bye for now.
I think you tie the idea of privatization to a very closed mind in terms of profit. I've worked for private companies. We don't always put profit first, because actually at the end of the day, the best way to take something forward is to make it good content that people actually want to see. So, sorry, response.
No, and very good questions in there, because you're absolutely right, there's so much choice. Rather, there's so much choice in that we are still, in that environment, growing our top line 19%, 100 million up on revenues since 2017, and that we're maintaining 23 minutes a day per person is spectacular, and it shows the strength of our brand. I don't have a closed mind to private companies at all. That's what I did for 20 years before this. So I have a closed mind to making profits, and in fact that would in some ways be easier than this job. I would say you would make different choices. If I had this company take privately, the first thing I would do would be pull out investment. I wouldn't leave all that cash on the balance sheet. I wouldn't leave the assets there are, but I would definitely spend less on programming, because that is how you would drive a commercial return. We already spend far and away above market on programming, so it is incorrect to say that someone would spend more on programming. They might choose to exploit the brand elsewhere and to work out other ways how to make money from it abroad. I absolutely agree with that, but I believe it is incorrect to say that a different owner would invest more into the company in terms of programming. So I just think it's
Enders is wrong.
Yes, she is wrong. And to your observations about content, the question, of course, is what content? There's lots and lots and lots of content out there, but where's the British content? Where's the content that's talking?
Fine, Clarkson's Farm.
Yes.
I mean, it's happening.
Clarkson's Farm is a great example, and we could produce a Clarkson's Farm tomorrow. But who's going to produce Help? Who's going to produce It's a Sin? Who's going to do the documentary regarding sexual in the police force? Who's going to have an hour's news on at 7 o'clock? We've seen what Channel 5 have done. They said, can we reduce our news content? They've done that because it's not profitable. So you're right, we could be private, we could be profitable, we could produce lots of content which would be for the international market to maximise our returns, and that's absolutely a potential route if government choose that. But what I would advise you to think about is what you lose. And a channel which is focused primarily on younger people, which is the most watched PBS amongst younger audiences, to change that is a big policy decision which you need to think about carefully.
Okay, thank you both very much. I think quite a few things to say about this session. I agree with Lord Vasey that there is a real danger of this being viewed, including I think by yourselves, as a sort of binary choice. Actually, you refer to people being motivated Channel 4 not being for profit but for public service. And I wonder whether, if we were looking at this not purely in the terms of the government's consultation on the future of Channel 4, but what we all want from PSB as part of the mix of content available to the British people, we'll be having a more constructive conversation both about the whole picture but also about your remit. And I just also wonder whether a more productive approach, come back to another point that Lord Vasey and others made, would be for a response from you that outlined how Channel 4 could thrive in a different sort of way. That, what are the things that could be done that would enable Channel 4 not to survive but to thrive, that don't include privatisation, but include a package of other measures that the government should adopt. So I think those are perhaps areas that the committee will look at in its deliberations. But any final comments from you on that, and then it'll just be left for me to say thank you.
I think we would always be open to those discussions, and they would be valuable, and that would be helpful to think about what we should do in the future. I completely agree that we should not be involved in preservation of the status quo or preservation of the past in aspect. So the questions are about how we can thrive and how we can do more for the UK.
Entirely echo what Alex has said. Our intention always in this process has been, how can we find a constructive dialogue which delivers the shared objective of a strengthened Channel 4, and we're open to all dialogue on that.
Thank you. Alex Mahon and Charles Grasser, thank you both very much indeed for your time this afternoon.
The first item this afternoon is questions to the First Minister. Peter Fox.
Diolch, Llywydd. Will the First Minister make a statement on how the Welsh Government is supporting vulnerable people over the winter months?
Llywydd, households are under unprecedented financial pressure resulting from the pandemic, our exit from the European Union, the rising cost of living, and damaging cuts to welfare supported by the UK government. We are tackling the inequalities that can lead to poverty while helping people to maximise incomes and build financial resilience.
Well, thank you, First Minister, for that answer. And I'd like to welcome the work that the Welsh Government is doing to support vulnerable people. And I particularly want to pay tribute to our charities and other third sector organisations who are doing some fantastic work to help our communities. As you will know, First Minister, the UK Government has recently announced a package of support worth £500 million to help people through the pandemic, as well as the winter months. This money will be provided to councils in England by October. Because of this, Wales will receive an additional £25 million. Can you confirm how this money will be used to support families across Wales and whether councils will directly receive this funding so that they can ensure that help is received by those who need it most? Thank you.
Well, I agree with what Peter Fox said about the importance of voluntary and third sector organisations who have done so much to help families and communities over the recent pandemic period. But let's be clear, the UK government is taking £300 million out of the pockets of some of the poorest families in Wales and is offering £25 million in return. It's absolutely no bargain at all for those vulnerable families and the support that they will need over this winter. Now, we have already provided over £25 million in additional investment in our discretionary assistance fund, a fund abandoned by the Conservative Party in England, where there's no recourse to such a nationally run rules-based scheme. We will look to see how we can use the £25 million to the very best effect, supporting the range of organisations that make a difference to people's lives, while being absolutely clear-sighted about the fact that to lose £300 million and to be offered £25 million in compensation is no deal at all.
Delith Jewell.
First Minister, loneliness has been a significant issue for thousands of people during the pandemic, and as we enter the winter months, more people could feel even more isolated from friends and family. When people are lonely, they can be at greater risk of isolating themselves from services as well, and that can in turn be made worse if there are already barriers to accessing those services like long waiting lists. I know the Red Cross has drawn attention to how people suffering from loneliness can need tailored support when they're waiting for treatment. Support that isn't just about their physical ailment, but about coping with the process of waiting, especially if that is prolonging the time before they can interact with friends and family more easily. So, First Minister, what support is in place or could be put in place, please, to help people on long waiting lists to cope with the isolation that might bring might bring them, as well as, of course, the impact on their physical health?
So I thank Delith Jewell for that important point. She will know that some analysts say that loneliness should be added to the 5 giants that Beveridge set out at the start of the welfare state as one of the great social policy challenges of our time. Thank her for what she said about the importance of the Red Cross. She will know that over last winter, the Welsh Government funded a series of actions by the Red Cross itself to assist in returning people to their own homes when they were discharged, sometimes after a brief period just visiting an A&E department, sometimes after a stay in hospital, precisely to make sure that those people who are lonely and isolated had another human being alongside them when they returned to their own homes and were helped to settle in and make sure they had everything that they needed. Can I commend as well the work of the Older Persons Commissioner in this area? I know my colleague Julie Morgan has been working closely with the Commissioner and her office to put services in place to combat loneliness amongst old people. And sometimes this is a very simple set of arrangements in the field that Peter Fox pointed to of the voluntary and the third sector. Just a simple phone call to somebody who doesn't hear another human voice from one day to the next, and just takes an interest in how they are doing and what they are going through, can make a real difference to people. And there are many, many volunteers now in all parts of Wales who take part in those simple but effective measures that can make a difference to loneliness.
Sarah Murphy.
First Minister, in my constituency of Bridgend, I've been asking residents about their experiences of contacting primary care. The feedback has ranged from very good to people who felt that they have waited too long. I'm concerned that this could particularly impact vulnerable people over the winter months. So how can Welsh Government ensure that our GP surgeries have the best technology so that people can make appointments and have a consistent service across Bridgend?
Well, thanks, Sarah Murphy, for that point. As primary care has quite rightly relied on technological ways of providing advice and treatment outcomes to people, so the need to make sure that those technological platforms are effective for people is even more important than it was before. As part of our access arrangement with GBC Wales, we provided millions of pounds of fresh investment to assist GP practices in making sure that their telephone systems, for example, were fit for today's society. I know the picture is mixed in the way that the member for Bridgend has mentioned. In the end, as she will know, these are private contractors who make their own arrangements for telephony services. We work with them, though, and we work with GBC Wales, including by additional funding, to try to make the performance of the whole system as good as it is for the best. And I know that from the work that she has done in her own constituency, which she shared with me, I know she's come across some very good examples of where people feel that the service they get from their own surgery meets their needs very well. Now we need the rest to be in the same position.
Question 2, Carolyn Thomas.
What steps is the Welsh Government taking to deliver a fair deal for social care staff in Wales?
I thank Karen Thomas for that question. Last year we convened the Social Care Fair Work Forum to look at how the terms and conditions of the workforce can be improved. We are committed to paying social care workers the real living wage in this Senedd term and are working with partners to take this forward.
Thank you for that answer, First Minister. I welcome the Welsh Labour Government's commitment to creating a stronger and better paid workforce, and in particular the decision that care workers should be paid the real living wage, and that this will be delivered during the current Senedd. I have been contacted by residents working in the sector who love their job, but the last few years have understandably taken a toll. One constituent in particular explained that last year she had worked Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day and New Year's Eve and New Year's Day with no enhancement of pay. Can you reassure these residents that this Welsh Government is fully committed to improving working conditions as well as pay for those working in the social care sector in Wales so that they can continue to provide the exemplary care they are relied upon for and that they really enjoy doing? Thank you.
I think Karen Thomas makes a very important point. We are committed to the real living wage in the social care sector and to funding it. But the challenge of recruiting and retaining the skilled workforce in social care is more than simply a pay issue. It does quite definitely depend upon decent working terms and conditions being offered to people who do this vitally important work. Now, back in 2017, the Senedd legislated to deal with some of the most egregious examples of where terms and conditions were not being observed, including some members will be familiar with what's called the clipping practice. And we legislated to put regulations around the practice of 0 hours contracts in the system. And indeed, over the pandemic, the Welsh Government has funded proper sick pay for social care workers, because we knew that anything up to 80% of employers did not provide occupational sick pay in this sector. Now, the Social Care Fair Work Forum is looking at the wider package of reforms that are needed if people in this sector are to be properly valued and retained. And we know that in a very, very diverse workforce, there are some employers who do absolutely the right thing by their employees. And we know that there are those who continue, for example, to ask their employees to pay for the costs of their own uniforms, to pay for the costs of their own DBRS checks. And in a sector where we have to work harder to make sure that we're able to make those jobs attractive to people, there still are practices which do not support that sector-wide requirement. So our ambition is to work with the best employers, and there are many of them in the sector, and then to persuade the rest of the employers in social care that alongside the money the Welsh Government will invest on paying the real living wage, they have to do more to make sure that the terms and conditions under which people are employed continue to attract people into this vital work.
Tara Miller.
First Minister, one of the things which has been welcomed by my party is the social care financial payment, the bonus payment, which of course many people are receiving in their pay packets this month. But those bonus payments must get through to everybody who is part of that social care workforce, who's been working on the front line during the pandemic, and that includes advocacy workers who are not employed directly by local authorities. Unfortunately, I've been informed by DEWIS, the DEWIS Centre for Independent Living, which has offices in my constituency in Colwyn Bay, provides advocacy services to people with mental health problems and disabilities across the whole of Conway and Denbighshire, and its advocates are not eligible for the bonus payment, while people in neighbouring local authorities who are advocates but work for the local authority are receiving these payments. That, to me, doesn't seem like a very level playing field. Can I ask the First Minister, will you look into this in order that those people who have been doing valuable work, going into people's homes at very difficult times during the pandemic, do have the opportunity to benefit from these bonus payments in recognition of their work?
Well, so the Welsh Government was very pleased to be able to provide a payment of £500 early in the pandemic and £735 later in the pandemic. £735 because we failed to persuade the UK government to allow that payment to be made without it being subject to tax and national insurance contributions. 64,000 workers in the sector have benefited from those payments. I am, of course, willing to look into any anomaly, and I'll take up the point that the members made specifically, while endorsing the point he originally made about the recognition that those payments were designed to give to people who do these jobs for us here in Wales.
Peredur Owen Griffiths.
Diolch Llywydd. When I raised the issue of reduced daycare centre provision in Caerphilly County Borough Council for disabled adults and the implications this has for clients, their families and staff, you've referred the matter to Caerphilly County Borough Council. Well, it may be a coincidence, but the Labour administration there decided to take a step back and consult properly on the matter. The old Welsh idiom of taro'r post i'r parad glywed springs to mind. You will also be pleased to hear that my colleague Delyth Jewell and I met with the council leader and the cabinet member for social services on this matter yesterday. During that meeting, it was stressed that by them that the recruitment of social care staff is difficult and will continue to be so until there is parity between their wages and NHS staff. Can you accelerate your plans for fairer pay for social care workers in light of household budgets being squeezed with the winter fuel prices increasing?
certainly agree that people who work in the sector will feel the impact of the failures of the UK government to contain the rises in energy prices, in food prices, and to have had a workable plan for the way in which the United Kingdom has withdrawn from the European Union. The Welsh Government led a successful recruitment campaign for social care workers in August and September, and I've seen the encouraging results of that campaign, encouraging enough for us to want to use the campaign again at the end of this month and into the autumn and winter, to try to do everything we can to bring the many benefits that people who work in the sector feel from the important work that they do. We want to roll out the real living wage, but we will wait for the advice of the Social Care Fair Work Forum in doing that, because we need to be confident that the money that the public purse will provide will make its way directly into the pay packets of those who it is intended to advantage.
Cwestiynau nawr gan arweinwyr
Questions now from the party leaders on behalf of the Conservatives. Paul Davis.
Diolch, Llywydd. First Minister, last Sunday, in fact, was World Mental Health Day. And before I go on to ask my questions, I'm sure that you and everyone in this chamber will join me in sending our very best wishes to our colleague Andrew Archie Davis as he takes some time now to focus on his own health. Now, I appreciate that the Welsh Government has provided some additional funding to reprioritise mental health in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. However, the fact remains that some people have been without face-to-face appointments for several months now, and some have been unable to access specialist support. Now, I appreciate that there will be a statement later today on the Together for Mental Health delivery plan, but can you tell us what targeted action the Welsh Government is now taking to ensure that those who need support and assistance can access services wherever they live in Wales?
Well, I thank Paul Davis for that question, and of course I very much associate myself with what he said in sending our very best wishes on behalf of the Welsh Government and the Labour Party to the Leader of the Opposition, and hope to see him back in his place in the Chamber as swiftly as he feels able to do that. The general point that Paul Davis raises is an important one. It was World Mental Health Day, as he said, at the weekend. Mental health remains the single largest budget line in the whole of the NHS in Wales, where our health boards generally overspend the amount of money that is allocated to them for that purpose. What we've tried to do during the pandemic is to strengthen those no referral services, those primary and preventative services that people can get to without having to go through a gatekeeper in the first place, and to get help when they first feel the need to do so. We're particularly focused on that with young people, as the member will know, in our increased investment in school counselling, in the work that we've done with the youth service to make sure workers there are prepared as they can be to respond to the needs of young people, and in our commitment to the whole school approach. The demand for mental health services has risen significantly during the pandemic, and the ability to provide those services face-to-face has to take into account the clinical conditions in which the service operates. But I believe that throughout Wales, there are very dedicated and determined people who work in the service trying to do exactly what Paul Davis has suggested.
Now, First Minister, as you'll be aware, as well as struggling to access mental health services, there are also people across Wales who are really struggling to access their GP. As mentioned earlier on in this session, the pandemic has exposed the fact that there are not enough doctors and staff in primary care. And whilst I understand that there has been some recruitment activity taking place, that's of little comfort to those patients waiting day in, day out to book an appointment to see their GP. And I accept what you said earlier, that the picture is mixed, but many are left waiting for up to an hour or even longer on the phone to speak to someone. And when they finally get through, they're often told there are no available appointments and to call back the following day. And we know that there has been a reduction in the number of GPs, according to the Welsh Government's own data between 2018 and 2020. There has been a reduction in the number of GPs per 10,000 population in 3 out of 7 of our health boards in Betsy Cadwaladr, Powys and in Erin Bevan health boards. So, First Minister, with the population numbers in those areas growing over the same period, what assessment have you made of the impact the reduction of GPs in those areas have had on patient care?
The assessment that the Welsh Government makes is that the future of primary care cannot depend upon GPs alone. The nature of the GP population is changing. The sorts of contracts that people emerging into the world of primary care, the sort of contracts they wish to take up is changing, and we have to change with it. We have to change with it primarily by expanding the range of professional voices who are able to provide primary care services. So a focus exclusively on GPs will not give us the sustainable future for primary care that we need here in Wales. GPs remain fundamental to that primary care team, leading it, responsible for clinical standards, making sure that they see those people who only a GP can see. But at the same time, they will oversee broader teams involving physiotherapists, pharmacists, advanced practice nurses, paramedic professionals, all of whom are able to provide a clinically effective service to people who need that primary care contact. That is the way in which we will find a future for primary care, which meets the needs of the Welsh population, and through that mix of professionals who will be at the front line, can make sure that the right sort of help is available to the patient far quicker than if we were simply to be relying on the model that has served us well up until now, but which is reaching the end of its exclusive usefulness.
Well, First Minister, there is a serious issue here for patients trying to get access to their GPs, and the Mair Hopkin from the Royal College of GPs has said that the crisis in GP surgeries actually predated COVID, with a lot of patients finding it difficult to get an appointment before the pandemic and having to wait several weeks for an appointment. We've heard from Dr Phil White, chairman of the BMA's Welsh GB committee. He's said that problems were developing before COVID, with more GPs being lost to early retirement. And doctors themselves have highlighted the impact that this has on the whole system. Doctors like Dr Ullman, a GP at Clark Avenue Surgery in Cwmbran, has made it clear that it's not just GPs, it's right through the system. There are backlogs in secondary care, the ambulance service, social care. He's right to say that everything is interlinked and that none of it can be viewed in isolation. It goes around in a circle and becomes more and more difficult for staff and indeed for patients. Therefore, First Minister, do you accept the view of the Royal College of GPs that the crisis in GP surgeries predates COVID? And given the impact that the pandemic has had, what urgent steps will your government take to specially address the development of primary care in this parliamentary term? And given that one of your government aims set out in the A Healthier Wales review was to improve the experience and quality of care for individuals and families, how will you achieve this if the number of GPs continue to decline and our population continues to grow?
Well, I agree with what the member says about the pressures that there are in the system, and they are in all parts of the system. Many GPs have chosen to take early retirement because of the changes in their pension arrangements that his government at Westminster introduced, that meant that it was simply financially not sensible for them to continue in the jobs that they had done. And we have urged the UK government many times to remove the perverse incentives that have led to some people taking themselves out of the workforce earlier than they otherwise would have done. The future of GP services, GPs in that narrow sense, lies in our ability to recruit more people into the profession and to train here in Wales. You will be well aware of the very healthy figures that we have achieved in recent times in reaching and overreaching the targets that we had set for GP trainees in Wales. I think in an answer to a question last week, I explained how the number of GP trainees in North Wales was to be raised again next year. GPs by themselves are not the whole answer to primary care in the way that I've described already, Llywyd. And what we will do as a government is to invest in that wider set of professionals, changing the nature of primary care, bringing it into the line with the way in which people who work in it see their futures as professional workers here in Wales, providing them with the 21st century surgeries, which we are committed to in our manifesto, and continuing to celebrate the efforts that day in, day out see thousands and thousands of people successfully treated by primary care clinicians in Wales every single day.
Arweinydd Plaid Cymru, Adam.
Plaid Cymru leader, Adam Pratt.
Thank you, Llywyd. Can I, at the outset, on behalf of my party, also send our message of support to Andrew Archie Davis. Many people will have taken courage and inspiration from him speaking openly about the challenges that he's facing with his own mental and emotional well-being, something, of course, that many of us will face at different times in our life. First Minister, MPs at Westminster have today described the UK's pandemic response as one of the worst public health failures in UK history. I agree with that damning assessment. First Minister, do you?
So I've not had an opportunity to read the reports that are published today. I've seen newspaper accounts of them. It is clearly a report that merits proper consideration, and I plan to do that. I'm not in a position to endorse or deny any verdicts that members of Parliament came to until I've had an opportunity to study what they've had to say in more detail than I've had an opportunity to do so far.
First Minister, among the report's many findings is its conclusion that the decision by both the UK and the Welsh Government to abandon community testing against WHO advice on March the 12th, 2020 was a fatal error that cost many lives. Notwithstanding the fact that you haven't had the opportunity to study the report, do you acknowledge that general criticism, and do you accept that it would have been better during that early phase of the pandemic to have followed your own policy in Wales, independent of Westminster, in relation to this, as you did indeed do on so many other matters in the later stages with considerable success?
Well, thank Adam Price for that. So I've been asked the question many times. You know, were there things that you would have done differently had you known then what you know now? And I think that that question is particularly pertinent to those very early stages of coronavirus, when so many things that we have learned since we simply weren't aware of in the way that we are now. Whether that is community testing or whether the example I've most often given is that had we understood the extent to which coronavirus was already seeded through the United Kingdom, and had we understood the rapidity with which this virus would spread to other parts and to other communities, we would have acted earlier to introduce some of the measures that were only introduced in the second half of March. But we didn't know those things then. We were following the advice that we had at the time. And as our knowledge grew, and as we were able to make our own independent decisions, because we had the knowledge base that allowed it to do so, as Adam Price says, the Welsh Government has not hesitated to take our own decisions where we thought that that was in the best interest of Wales. But at each point, I think it is fair for people to think about, what did we know then? What do we do? What do we know now? And in the light of the circumstances at the time, did we make the best decisions that we were able to?
I, of course, understand the point about hindsight, but I suppose the crux of the matter here was that the WHO had the foresight at the time to emphasise the importance of community testing. Indeed, I remember our party criticising the Welsh Government's decision to abandon community testing at the time on that basis, because there was advice there which actually has been borne out in terms of its importance. In the entire 147-page report, ostensibly about the UK as a whole, Wales is mentioned, I think, just 9 times, and the majority of those references are in the footnotes. Doesn't that make the case for Wales to have its own inquiry? Because without it, if we delegate to Westminster, the experiences of the bereaved families that you met last week, First Minister, will simply be forgotten, and the lessons for Wales that should be learnt will be lost.
Well, so as I've said, I've not had a proper opportunity to study the report, but even from the newspaper account that I have seen, it seemed to me to strengthen the argument for the Welsh experience to be properly investigated within the wider UK context. This report, as I understand it, was never meant to be about the experience in Scotland, Wales or Northern Ireland, but it does set out very clearly the decisions that were made at a UK level, and without understanding that, you cannot understand the way in which decisions were made here in Wales. But let me repeat, because I know the member has heard me say this before, but I have been very clear with the UK government that the Welsh government's decisions and those taken by other relevant bodies in Wales have to be scrutinised within a UK-wide inquiry in a full and comprehensive manner. Wales cannot and must not be an afterthought or a footnote in any UK-wide inquiry. And I set out, as he knows, in my letter to Michael Gove on the 10th of September, a series of tests that we would apply to give us the confidence or otherwise that the Welsh experience was being given the attention within a UK inquiry that it needs and deserves, so that those families get the best possible answers. Now, there are a number of tests coming up for the UK government in this regard. I'm yet to receive a reply to that letter, and I will look very carefully at it when it arrives. I'm hoping to have a face-to-face meeting with the Prime Minister within the next coming days, and I plan to use that opportunity to make these points directly to him. He has promised bereaved families that that the lead of the inquiry, the judge, as I hope it will be, to oversee the inquiry, will be appointed before Christmas. I would expect Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland to be properly involved in that appointment, not to read about it in a press release. So there are a number of ways in which over the weeks ahead, the UK government can demonstrate that this is to be an inquiry that sets out the actions that were taken at a UK level, therefore providing the proper context to understand what happened in Wales, but has a focus on the Welsh experience that will give confidence to people who will look to it that the actions of the Welsh government and of others have been fully and properly scrutinised, and the answers to questions that people have properly addressed in the process.
Question 3, Janet Finch-Saunders.
Will the First Minister make a statement on cancer treatment in North Wales?
Llywelyn Cancer Services in North Wales continue to recover from the impact of the pandemic. In July this year, for example, 374 patients started definitive cancer treatment, and that is 114 more than in the July of the previous year.
Thank you, First Minister, and I'm only sorry that I have to raise this with you today, but such are my concerns. First Minister, NHS Diagnostic and Therapy Service waiting times for July of this year show an 11-fold increase in the number of people waiting over 8 weeks for one of 7 key tests used to diagnose cancer, and startlingly, 1/3 of patients in the Betsy Cadwallader region do not start their first definitive treatment in a month within 62 days of first being suspected of cancer. I've been really shocked recently to hear of some of my constituents and patients of Betsy Cadwallader University Health Board learning that they are being informed, in some occasions, of a life-changing, devastating cancer diagnosis simply by the telephone, rather than a personable face-to-face discussion. And this has caused a lot of further anxiety to my constituents. Even more troubling, I know of one constituent who, following a stage 4 terminal cancer diagnosis, was not even advised of the treatment options available at the time of his diagnosis. Instead, just saying simply that a referral will be made at some stage going forward to Wrexham or Liverpool. That was until I made, several representations on their behalf. Now, alongside
Can you come to a question now, Jonathan Saunders?
Yeah, of course. Alongside delayed diagnosis, there is a concerning gap between diagnosed and finding that treatment. So what steps, First Minister, will you take to ensure that and you close that gap between a devastating cancer diagnosis and the treatment options available to those affected? Diolch, Larry.
Thank the member for that question. You understand, I'm not in a position ever to comment on individual encounters between clinicians and their patients. I think there are two general points that the member makes that I'd like to address. She's right that diagnostic services are under huge pressure. We worried on the floor of the Senate during the pandemic at delays in people coming forward, to make their conditions known to clinicians. Thankfully, we've had some impact on that and more people are coming forward. But of course, when they come forward in those numbers, it inevitably puts diagnostic systems under pressure. She will know that the Betsy Cadwallader Health Board has recently approved the business case to pilot 3 rapid diagnostic centres, 1 in each of its 3 main hospitals, and that they are in the business now of recruiting the specialist nurses and the radiology time that they will need to get those diagnostic centres up and running early as they hope in the new year. So I hope that will make a difference to some of the individuals that Janet Saunders has mentioned this afternoon. On the issue of how clinicians communicate their diagnoses to people, I don't think it's possible in the chamber of the Senedd to make general rules about how that is best done. It needs to be done sensitively, of course. It needs to be done with the best interests of the patient at the heart of it. And there will be some patients, won't there, for whom it is better for them that they have a conversation with their clinician while they are in their own homes, rather than asking them, ill as they are, to make inconvenient journeys to quite far away destinations where there are a lot of other very ill people, to be told what the clinician is able to tell them in a conversation in their own homes. Now, that won't suit everybody. I completely understand that, but nor do I think that it is probably right to say that everybody will prefer to make that journey, to wait to see somebody, to be told what they could have been told in other circumstances. It's for the clinician with the patient to make the judgment about the best way in which that can be done. And we have to have some trust in our clinicians that they go about that business. They're in the business of treating people with cancer. After all, that is what they have dedicated their professional lives to doing, that they do it with that sensitivity in mind.
Question 4, Buffy Williams.
Diolch, Llywydd. Will the First Minister provide an update on the works undertaken on the Turbot line in Rhondda as part of the South Wales Metro?
Thank Buffy Williams for that. Llywydd, the electrification and signalling work required to deliver 4 services per hour on new, greener trains on the Treherbert line has now started, and it's scheduled to be completed in mid-2023.
Thank you, First Minister. The Metro will transform the way we travel across South Wales, and I couldn't be happier that Rhondda will benefit from the £250 million investment. We've had some real problems on the Treherbert line in the past, so a more modern, more green and more reliable service in the future will really benefit residents in Rhondda Fawr. One of the only regions in South Wales currently excluded from the plans is Rhondda Fawr. Residents in Mardy face either a 2-hour bus journey to Cardiff or the hassle of buying multiple tickets, paying over the odds for the bus and train. We've had train buses linking the Fawr and Fawr in the past. What steps will the Welsh Government take to ensure residents of Rhondda Fawr benefit from the South Wales Metro?
Oh, I thank the member for what she said about the impact.
Your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hello, lovely listeners. Tune in to the renewed show with Charlotte. Make it a date to listen to me this and every Thursday at 5 p.m. on Starr Radio UK. Tune in to an hour of power, an hour of encouragement, an hour to inspire you to stay positive and strong in this season. See you there and listen.
Hello, good people. I'm back again, and this time it's about Mama's Choice Fufu Mix. It comes in 2 flavors and it contains essential minerals and vitamins. It's